subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Of death, his body spontaneously used breathing methods to activate his body potential and ensure that he survived life and death crises again and again. After Kyojuro was able to move freely, he began to consciously train and polish his body. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 6 years until now. 6 years of polishing made his body as strong as a wild beast hunting freely in the jungle. Sometimes, facing the mirror, Kyojuro would even doubt whether he was an Uchiha. And now, he has conducted a comprehensive physical fitness assessment, reaction, speed, dodgeability, strength, endurance. The result of the comprehensive assessment is that he is even faster and stronger than when he was 15 years old in his previous life. Although he expected it, Kyojuro was still shocked. Is it because of the influence of chakra? Kyojuro took a deep breath, feeling the power of nature filling his body. He closed his eyes and clenched the knife in his hand. "Father, I will keep my promise." Breath of flame. One form. He stepped forward, waved his arm, and a knife came out. Shiranui. The slash was accompanied by a blazing flame, and the huge rock on the opposite side was directly cut off with one stroke. Bang, the cut stone slid to the ground, and there was even a black burn of flames at the cut point. Kyojuro, you created your own ninjutsu method. The tribesmen who had been watching from the sidelines suddenly jumped out from all corners. Some of them surrounded the huge rock that was cut in half and marveled at it, while the other part directly lifted Kyojuro up. Kyojuro tried to explain that this was the breath of fire. "No, this is not ninjutsu. Kyojuro, you are a genius. You combined fire escape and swordsmanship together." Kyojuro's voice was drowned out by the tribesmen. They maintained this strange posture and carried Kyojuro from the training ground back to the tribe leader's house. Clan leader. Kyojuro has invented a new way to perform magic. Clan leader. Kyojuro is a genius. As soon as Kyojuro swung his sword, fire escape was released from his blade, which not only expanded the sword attack range, but also made the attack stronger. This move is a combination of the slashing sword technique and fire escape. It has strong explosive power and a forward step, and can achieve speed and high attack power at the same time. The clan members talked a lot and performed in front of Taijima, even moving the two halves of the boulder in the training ground outside the clan leader's yard. After all, the fact that the clan's big baby has not been able to perform fire escape has always been the focus of the clan members' secret attention. Uchiha. The big baby is Uchiha. How can he only know what escape, but not fire escape? Then, in the clan members' eyes full of expectation, Kyojuro used the breath of fire, the first form, and the fire in front of Taijima. The moment the burning flame appeared, the Uchiha applauded together. Taijima patted Kyojuro on the shoulder. "Well done. Go away. What's the point of crowding here? You've been watching with your Sharingan for so long. Go back and study how to replicate it." "Okay, clan leader." After all the clan members who came to join in the fun left, Taijima squatted down and looked Kyojuro in the eye. "Kyojuro, you already have the basic thinking of a ninja. You're great," Kyojuro said solemnly. "I will do my best to keep working hard. Keep climbing on the path of the strong." "Good. This is Uchiha." At night, Taijima wrote a letter to his eldest son who was still wandering in the land of water under the flickering flames of candlelight. The whole letter has only one purpose. Hurry up and grab a few chakra knives for your eldest nephew. The long and hot summer in the land of fire has finally passed. The temperature in the morning and evening can already feel the autumn. Linglong has less and less to do. Uchiha King simply asked her to stand by in the business department with Uchiha Mori. Kyojuro's breath of fire has evolved from the forward slashing, Form 1, Shiranui, to the difficult upward slashing, Form 2, Rising Flame Heaven. But there are only a few members of the clan who can perfectly replicate it. It's simply the difference in skills and physical fitness. The breath of flame combines both attack power and speed. Most of the moves consist of 2 or 3 quick slashes. The swordsmanship includes long-distance advances and short-distance displacement steps. The swordsman uses the advance to take the initiative, breaking through the enemy's defense while slashing his own slashes. The swordsman who uses the breath of flame has strong limbs, a tight core, excellent physical fitness, and no shortcomings, which allows them to burst out with powerful power, and even use the slash as an II slash. The swordsmanship of the Uchiha clan is different from that of Kyojuro, and the attack rhythm and pace are completely different. Although the Uchiha has a replica artifact, such as the Sharingan, these are not profound. They are just movements that have been integrated into the body's instincts after years of practice. They cannot learn them in a short time. In places that Kyojuro doesn't know, how many Uchiha are speechless with their twisted waists, slash legs, slash ankles. It is worthy of being the ninja swordsmanship created by the big baby. After receiving the letter from his old father, Uchiha Madara gave up the original challenge to the seal formation of the Whirlpool Country and turned to search for the ninja swords in the Water Country that were said to be made by the Six-Path Sage. After personal investigation, visiting the house for sparring, Uchiha Madara chose two ninja swords, Bakudo Feimu and Thunderblade Guy. The place hit by Bakudo Feimu will explode, and the explosion damage is similar to that of the detonating tag, which should be able to cooperate with Kyojuro's fire escape. Thunderblade Guy is a two-handed weapon. Kyojuro is used to holding the sword with both hands when slashing hard, so it is just right to use this. In addition, Thunderblade Guy is the fastest and has its own lightning. If it is combined with lightning escape on the basis of fire escape, the damage it can cause is definitely not to be underestimated. As for other things like double swords Hirame Hashima that can kill people and become stronger, big sword Samahata that can automatically restore chakra, and blunt sword Dokuga, long sword sewing needle, beheading big sword, that are useless at first glance, Uchiha Madara decisively returned these swords to their original owners. Uchiha Madara, what rubbish these are, only two of them are barely usable. My nephew is really wronged. Just at this time, the autumn harvest in the Land of Lightning has ended. Uchiha Boyan got the clan land deed promised by the Land of Lightning, handed it to Uchiha Ken, and prepared to leave for the Land of Fire. Uchiha Madara simply asked Sanbai to deliver the sword to Boyan and let him take it back. Yes, although Sanbai was not signed by Uchiha Madara as a summoning beast, it was almost the same. The three-tailed beast who didn't want to be beaten again could only work for Uchiha Madara obediently. Fortunately, Uchiha Madara didn't think highly of his fighting ability and usually used his ability to move quickly in the water as a mount. In addition to the two ninja swords, Uchiha Boyan also brought back another good thing: the method of making a new type of kotatsu that can be placed on the floor, which was studied by the Uchiha of the Land of Lightning. Don't think that the Land of Fire doesn't need this. In the past, the old-style kotatsu couldn't open up the market in the Land of Fire because those kotatsu needed to dig a hole under the floor, put charcoal fire inside, set up a wooden table on top, and then cover it with a quilt. It can not only heat up, but also dispel the moisture inside the kotatsu, giving the user a dry and warm little world. But it can only be used in the place where the hole is dug, and it can't be moved. Although the winter in the Land of Fire is damp and cold, it lasts at most 2 months. It's not advisable to destroy the layout of the home for just 2 months, especially during the new year when there will be many visitors at home. For those nobles who value elegance, it is really undesirable. But the new kotatsu is different. The charcoal fire is placed in a large wooden barrel. The warm heat is transmitted through the wood and is trapped under the kotatsu by the thick quilt. If there are guests at home, you only need to put away the wooden table, wooden barrel, and bedding. If the guests are close, you can invite them to enjoy the warmth together. Although, who should I find to make these wooden barrels and wooden tables? How he expressed real doubts. Boyin smiled wickedly and pointed in the direction of the Senju family. Explosion sword foam. Thunder Swordgar. Kyojuro looked at these two ninja swords and felt the deep love from Uncle Madara. He reached out and grasped. Explosion sword foam. Ha 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 ha. Explode. Ha 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 ha. A strange sound instantly appeared in his mind, and Kyojuro let go of his hand, and and the sound disappeared. He put his hand on explosion sword again, explode. Kyojuro took his hand back again. This sword should be more suitable for Yuzui, who likes gorgeous and powerful attacks. He picked up the Thunderblade Fong. Again, the only martial arts in the world that cannot be broken is speed, and my user must be the fastest person in the world. After putting the knife down, Kyojuro crossed his arms. This knife is obviously more suitable for the successor of the thunder breathing, such as the yellow-haired boy in the previous life. But this is Uncle Madara's intention, and it can't just be put aside like this. Explosion. Cherry bomb. I don't know if it will work, but Kyojuro decided to give it a try. He held the explosion blade flying foam and came to the edge of the clan land and threw a cherry bomb at the rocky beach outside the clan land. Boom. A large circular pit appeared in the rocky beach, and the knife in Kyojuro's arms fell silent. This should work. Before Kyojuro could breathe a sigh of relief, the explosion blade flying foam suddenly twisted violently. Hey, user, what was that beautiful little thing just now? I fell in love with him. Use your life to complete the explosion. How professional. Hurry up. I know you summoned him. I want to see him. I want to see him explode. Oh, what a beautiful body, red, round, and with a bad temper, hee. The blade of explosive knife flying foam turned pink. Finally, explosive knife reached an agreement with Kyojuro. It allowed Kyojuro to use it, but it had to let him see the little guy every month. No problem. One man and one knife had no idea how magical their smooth conversation was. The agricultural department was busy again. They were counting the yields of peas and corn. At the turn of spring and summer, they realized that planting peas and corn together might help the growth of both. Now it was time to verify this conjecture. The blank group peas yielded 300 caddies per moo. Corn yielded 800 caddies per moo. The experimental group peas yielded 350 caddies per moo. Corn yielded 1,200 caddies per moo. When the final statistics came out, the people who did the calculations could hardly believe that these were numbers they had calculated. 1,002? It really is 1,002. Elder, planting together will really increase the yield. Great, great. Kyojuro is indeed the Uchiha's great treasure. The substantial increase in corn production means that they can rely on corn as a grain to compete for the status of other grains on the Chinese table. After thinking for a moment, Uchiha Boyan immediately set a sowing plan for next year. Continue to plant corn and peas together, carefully group them, and be sure to figure out the best planting density of the two plants. Yes, when corn becomes the staple food, pea flour is not so important. But the pea yield in the clan is still very high, and Uchiha is unwilling to watch these plants that brought them the first pot of gold being wasted in the warehouse. Relying only on Jinfong, Changsha cake, and pea jelly, it is impossible to consume so many peas. If you want to expand sales, you must reduce prices, but their cost of planting peas this year has not decreased. One reduction and one flat, it means loss. Next year, we have to explore the rules of intercropping corn and peas, and the yield of peas will not decrease. Therefore, starting from the agricultural department, the tribe and the mill began to study other possibilities of cooking peas. Although it is okay to simply use peas as a kind of green vegetable to make soup or stir-fry, if it only stays at this level, peas do not have unique competitiveness. Beans. Tofu. Since soybeans can be made into tofu, what about peas? Some tribesmen wanted to make tofu from peas according to the procedure of making tofu. But the last step of shaping could not make tofu that was square and elastic like soybeans. In the end, the pea version of tofu was not developed, but a new way to eat soybean tofu was developed, grilling with sauce. It seems that there is still a long way to go to study the way to eat peas. Chapter 37, Don't Treat Bean Sprouts as Vegetables Who Breathing a Flame. Boom! Taijima took a sip of the tea in his hand. Great, another target at home is scrapped. It's time to buy some more durable ones. Breathing a flame. Bang! The head of the target that was chopped off hit Taijima's feet. Taijima took another sip of tea. Kyojuro's ninja swordsmanship is getting more and more proficient. Not bad. Breathing a flame. Boom! The target that was split in half flew to the other side of the courtyard wall. Taijima covered his face in pain. Is the blood of the Senju family so stubborn? Kyojuro was raised by Uchiha. He is from Uchiha. Why is the swordsmanship used in the style of the Senju family? This defensive posture of moving the left shoulder forward to block the vitals is what the Senju group of animals with super fast blood recovery would consider to exchange injuries for injuries. Being cruel to the enemy, and even more cruel to oneself, being treacherous and ruthless, dancing between the blades, is the Uchiha swordsmanship style. Uncle, sorry, I'll control my strength. Kyojuro ran over and took away the remains of the target at Taijima's feet. Taijima instantly regained his calm. It's okay, you train well. Kyojuro's fighting style must have been influenced by Madara. Kyojuro, who is running in with explosive blade flying foam, feels great. Look, his slash not only has the burning of the breath of fire, but also the explosion brought by explosive blade. If there was a sword with this magical power, similar to the blood demon art in the previous life, why would the team members be at a disadvantage in the fight with the demons? Explosive blade flying foam. It's really a good sword. At the same time, explosive sword flying foam was also very satisfied with its master this time. Although it was still young, it could clearly feel the flames burning in his young body. Flames and explosions. Perfect match. And there's also that beautiful, round little guy for it to see. Hey. The explosive sword in Naruto is very ugly, really ugly, and it explodes through summoning detonation talismans. It has been modified here. The sword shape is an ordinary katana, and its ability is to cause an explosion at the slash point. You can understand it as because it is too ugly, Uchiha recast this sword in the meeting hall of the capital of the Land of Fire. Tachibana Shurhei was reporting to the daimyo with this year's commercial tax summary. The daimyo looked at the memorials presented to him and was a little surprised. Why is the commercial tax increased by 50% this year? Tachibana Jihei smiled and said, Your Majesty, it's because of Uchiha's white porcelain. The daimyo became interested and put down the memorial in his hand. Huh? A small piece of white porcelain can actually bring so much money. Tachibana Jihei carefully described the Uchiha's white porcelain business. Because of its rare production, it is expensive, but Uchiha said that the original intention of making this thing was to present it to your majesty. The money obtained now is a pleasant surprise. So they handed over all the proceeds from the sale of white porcelain to the national treasury. The Uchiha clan leader also said that this money was exchanged for the white porcelain that should belong to your majesty. So it is naturally your majesty. The daimyo also smiled. This Uchiha clan leader is really a wonderful person. As far as he knows, the people who bought these white porcelains are all nobles and important officials in the court. The private property of those people is even richer than the national treasury. He has been coveting them for a long time, but he has never found a suitable reason to confiscate their property. Now, with the white porcelain, those people will be willing to pay for it. The Uchiha clan leader is a smart man. After seeing this, he immediately sent the money to himself. Not only did he avoid the nobles who were emptied of their wealth from regretting and making trouble later, but he also helped to curry favor with himself, the ruler of a country. Not bad. I didn't expect that there are such smart people among ninjas. Come on, pass the order down. Only the white porcelain made and sold by the Uchiha family is the imperial product. Others are not allowed to learn, make, or sell it secretly. Those who violate the order are guilty of the same crime as robbers. Then, the daimyo looked at Tachibana Jia Shiping again. Tachibana Jia, you did a good job. In the future, you will be responsible for the commercial taxes of the Uchiha family. As for the rest, let your son learn from the Minister of Civil Affairs. Tachibana Jia Shiping thanked him. After returning to his own home, Tachibana Jia Shiping and Masakazu began to review the situation. Alas, it seems that the commercial tax paid by the Uchiha family in the future can only be more, not less. If he is in charge, isn't it hoped that he can explain the grace of the daimyo to the Uchiha carefully and let the Uchiha pay more money? Tachibana Masakazu slowly pushed a cup of tea over. Father, that's fine. The data submitted to the daimyo have been processed by the clan and the Tachibana family, not to mention increasing it by 10% or 20%. Even if it is increased by 2 or 3 times, it is more than enough. Father knows, but Tachibana Shurhei looked a little ugly. The daimyo intends to let me step down and use you instead. From being responsible for the national commercial tax to being responsible for the commercial tax of the Uchiha clan, the power has shrunk a lot. But the daimyo immediately mentioned Masakazu's name and even said something like asking Masakazu to study hard. Next year, no, at least for the next 3 years, you must be careful and work hard. This is the daimyo's probation period for you. If you do well, your father's position as the Minister of Civil Affairs will be yours. Tachibana Masakazu bowed his head and accepted his father's teachings, but he also had his own opinions. Father, the power in your hands may not necessarily be taken away by your son. Tachibana Shurhei blew the tea in the cup. What do you mean? Masakazu answered. What if the Uchiha clan is able to rival all the people in the country? Tachibana Shurhei was stunned. Uchiha, can you do it? It's worth a try. Tachibana Shurhei was happy at first, but then quickly restrained his joy. No, absolutely not. The Uchiha clan cannot be so high profile when the current daimyo is in power. Tachibana Shurhei's brain worked quickly. It seemed that he had to talk to the Shonagon before the imperial edict on white porcelain was still in the Banking Bureau. When a land of fire entered winter, the 5 cabbage pitchers that Kyojuro had summoned first produced seeds, just as Kyojuro had expected. Well, as expected, we should still grow seedlings first. Boyan said, growing seedlings? Can't we just sow the seeds? Analyze the specific situation. Each plant has its own characteristics, and even the characteristics of different planting areas will be different. Farming also requires tactics. If you want to plant vegetables in the field in early spring, you need to grow seedlings because we grow seedlings in a warm room and the seeds are easy to germinate. If you plant directly, the temperature in spring is very low and the seeds will not germinate for a long time in the soil, which is easy to cause rot. But if it is late spring or summer, there is no need to grow seedlings. Kyojuro understood. Because cabbage tastes very refreshing and is suitable for eating in summer, it needs to be planted earlier. Yes, Boyan handed Kyojuro a piece of Thunder Country's unique thunder beef jerky, which was firm and very chewy. But we can plant a batch in early spring and another batch in summer, so that we can eat fresh cabbage until autumn. Kyojuro pinched the jerky and chewed it hard. Master, what vegetables do we eat in winter? The tribe seems to have no shortage of vegetables. But ordinary people in the Fire Country can't have their own greenhouses like the Uchiha and the nobles, and they can hardly eat any vegetables in winter. We usually eat relatively cold-resistant Chinese cabbage and radish here. In the Thunder Country, either vegetables are imported from the Fire Country, or bean sprouts can only be grown indoors. Wait, bean sprouts? The master and the apprentice looked at each other. Yes, bean sprouts. Peas can be grown into bean sprouts. They did what they said. There were a lot of peas in the tribe's warehouse anyway, so they just took a pot home. First, scald the peas with warm water for a cup of tea, stirring them constantly while scalding, and then soak them in a large amount of room temperature water for a day, changing the water once for breakfast, lunch, and before going to bed. After the peas have fully absorbed water and expanded, and the wrinkles have disappeared, gently rub off the mucus on the surface of the peas, then spread the peas evenly on the plate, and then cover them with a layer of cotton cloth soaked in water, and then wait quietly for the pea sprouts to grow. Before the pea sprouts grew, they were still a little worried. After all, the stems of this special pea plant in the tribe are relatively hard. If the pea sprouts are so hard, they can't be eaten as vegetables. But now, looking at the tender green pea sprouts, the master and apprentice swallowed their saliva. Master, is Aunt Mikiko home? Good question. It's okay. Xiaoling is home. Uchiha Ling looked at the lush pea sprouts and pressed the master and apprentice to sit down on the tatami in the living room. Leave it to me. This can't be unpalatable at first glance. Just treat pea sprouts as ordinary vegetables. It tastes great, And what's even better is that even people in the land of thunder and the land of snow can enjoy this greenery in the lifeless winter. Uchiha Ling made 3 dishes: peas fried with bacon, cold peas and minced meat soup. 5 ants. Great! Now we have found the best way to eat peas. I bet that we only need to give away the method of promoting the growth of pea sprouts when selling peas, and it will definitely sell like crazy in the north. I don't know if it's because he has been in the land of thunder for too long, but Boyan's accent is a bit strange now. 5 ants. Kyojuro lowered his head and ate bitterly, not hearing Boyan's ambitions at all. Senju family. Wood style, wooden board technique. Senju Hashirama maintained the posture of the Misaki seal and looked at a row of wooden boards emerging from the ground with satisfaction. Senju-an, who had just returned to the Senju clan from Taga Castle, Tachibana's hometown, looked at the new ninjutsu that his eldest nephew had created and thought, the name that my eldest brother gave to Hashirama was really right. Hashirama, what are you doing? Hashirama Senju ordered the clan members to cut all the wooden boards and process them, and replied, Little ant, you are back, making wooden boards. Recently, the clan received an order for us to provide a large number of wooden barrels and wooden tables. I had a technique that could make wooden shields before, and it can be used to make wooden boards with a slight modification. These wooden boards are quite strong and durable, which can save a lot of processing steps and time. The technique Hashirama mentioned was the wood release ranking technique, which he used as an absolute defense technique before, but now he has reduced the amount of chakra transmitted, and the hardness of the wooden board produced has decreased a lot and can be cut by knives and saws. But it is still stronger than naturally grown trees. And Senju was speechless. Is this the new path his elder brother found after careful consideration? Let Mu Dunsher switch to selling wooden boards? Senju Xing grabbed her hair, lowered her waist, and wailed in pain. It's this feeling of being full of flaws, but I can't say a word. It's hell. Senjuboma's kunai, fired from a distance, interrupted Senjuxin's crawling all over the ground. What are you howling for? Report as soon as you get back. Brother, the Senju clan is not a lumber merchant. Senju Xing held Hashirama's face and tried to wake up Senju Buddha Jian. This is a once-in-a-100-year would escape her. Brother, wake up. Uchiha gave me this number. Kianju Xing instantly let go and smoothed her long hair gracefully. I think there is room for improvement in Hashirama's jutsu. Brother, are Uchiha so rich now? Senju Xing looked at the amount clearly written on the task book and suddenly felt that her brain was a little lack of oxygen. Well, a lot of money. Oh, I don't know how much Uchiha Shirazaki made, but he still acts like a good boy in front of the daimyo, saying that he handed over all the profits. Only a ghost would believe it. Thinking of the edict issued by the daimyo before about Uchiha being the only manufacturer and seller of white porcelain, Senju Butama wanted to roll his eyes. Those rabbits only talked nice, but the profits they actually handed over were probably less than 1/3 of the actual profits. Kianju Xing sat cross-legged with his hands on his knees. What do you think they want all of a sudden for these wooden barrels and wooden tables? Are they going to open a new store? It's not clear, and they couldn't tell us. Besides the barrel table, they also ordered a lot of round wooden boards. The Senju brothers and sisters are increasingly confused about this old rival. By the way, brother, when I went to Taga Castle this time, I found that the Tachibana family and the Uchiha family seem to be doing business together. No, they can't be called together, although their stores are separate and the goods they sell are completely different. It feels like they have agreed on where in Taga City, what the Kisuk family will sell, what the Uchiha family will sell, and how much they will sell. It's all agreed upon. It was difficult for Senju Anzu to describe the feeling in her head, but the two businesses in Taga City were indeed very unusual. Senju Budajian interrupted Senju Xing's words. Let's put the business aside for now. Hashirama recently told me his idea. I think it's feasible, but there's still room for maneuver. It just so happens that you're back. Recently, diners who often go to Uchiha's restaurants discovered that there is something new in Uchiha's house. Summer ice cream and red fruits made them very happy, especially the requirement that membership be required to enjoy it, which fully satisfied the vanity of the nobles. And now, they discovered that the store had been put up with strange chairs that looked like buckets. But on the recommendation of the clerk, they reluctantly sat in. What? What is this warmth? Oh my God, there's a fire under this chair. It's a movable fire. Oh, this is so comfortable. I just can't move myself out of this chair. When the nobles were completely conquered by the warmth and carbon gas, the store staff recommended another kotatsu that could be used by the whole family. Okay, I bought it. I also have this bucket. I want to take it away directly. Of course, my lord, this bucket belongs to you. That's great. Both parties are clearly happy with the deal. Chapter 38. One country, one village. No Senju and observed Taga Castle for half a year. With her strong intuition, she probably understood the cooperation model between Uchiha and Tachibana. Now Senju Fujin said that he would not cooperate with Uchiha. Isn't this fun? Facing the anxious sister, Senju Fujin reminded, "We can't do this kind of cooperation model." Senjuin slapped the table. "Who said that? Brother, don't we have our own special products?" Senju Fujin looked at the cracks on the table. This table was Hashirama's would escape test work. Is Anne's strength increased again? Our military strength? Yes, it's our herbs. Our herbs have to be supplied to the clan, and we can't sell them on a large scale. Moreover, if we want to borrow the sales channels of the Uchiha family, we need to pay more. We can't sell new things like the Uchiha family, and we can't rely on business to support the whole clan. We can only be ninjas now. Senju Fujin analyzed. Hashirama proposed the concept of a ninja village, I think. I don't think so. Big brother, isn't this what you have been worried about? Senjuin didn't understand why this idea that had been completely denied by his big brother was brought up again. After recognizing a master, the ninja becomes a private soldier, and the entire cost of the war is transferred to the ninja. We really can't get away. Shing, we can't get away a long time ago. Senju Fujin really wanted to ask the Six-Path Sage, the legendary god of ninjas, why did he create such a pitiful creature as the ninja? Scholars, farmers, merchants, and artisans, we ninjas are redundant. We don't have noble titles. We can't be officials. We don't have land. We can't farm. We can only forge weapons. We don't have unique products. And we can't do anything except take missions and kill people. Foji inside. Shing, I asked you to come here to talk about this. Although the model of a ninja village in a suzerain country is not desirable, this idea is not without its good points. Uchiha has made their business multinational by relying on their advantages of having clansmen in both the lightning country and the fire country. What if we ninjas can do the same? We are not involved in the political struggles within a country, but only focus on the commissions of merchants or town officials. We exist outside the country's internal affairs. This is the lifestyle suitable for ninjas who are isolated from the world. Looking at the decadent Fojian, Shing opened his mouth but didn't know what to say. Brother. Shing, I know, let me think about it. This year's fire country is particularly cold, and it even snowed lightly. As the end of the year approaches, Uchiha Madara returns with the Nine Tails. After a year of traveling around and causing trouble, crossed out, he has a stronger sense of blade, a cold aura, and a stronger sense of presence. Madara, welcome home. In the embrace of his family, Uchiha Madara's aura softened. He smiled and hugged his family back, turning back into the big lion lazily basking in the sun. Brother Madara, you've lost weight. Taijima glanced at his eldest son, whose handsome face looked smaller because of his more frizzy hair, and then at his youngest son, who wanted to stuff all the new dishes developed in the clan this year into his eldest son's mouth. Okay, the two brothers have a good relationship, which is a good thing. Kyojuro stuck to the other side of Uchiha Madara and listened to him talk about the various accidents he encountered in the past year. Uchiha Madara could only recall some opponents he thought were pretty good, such as the head of the Yayue family, Yayue Hayes. After he defeated the opponent, he wanted to marry his sister to Madara, which scared Madara away overnight. The sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan is something special. It is completely different from the sealing technique in the mainland. It has become a school of its own. If the sealing technique in the mainland is either to compress the volume of objects for easy carrying or to simulate the effect of ninjutsu, through formations. Then the sealing technique of the whirlpool country has already moved to another field. They have set their sights on the chakra that ninjas rely on to launch techniques. Uzumaki, I'll shut down your chakra and see how you fight me. In addition, the umami generally has a good physique, and the ninjas whose chakras are forcibly shut down by them really can't beat these red-haired people. Kyojuro made a sound that he wanted to learn. I really can't learn it. This special seal depends on their bloodline. Uchiha Madara didn't think the umami was so powerful. He relied on his own solid force to resist the umami's attack, and used the Sharingan to break the seal when the opponent showed fatigue. After all, temporary seals are used on the battlefield. It is said that they also have a kind of sealing technique that requires the arrangement of a large altar. I really want to see it. Uchiha Madara talked about his feelings this time. So we can't relax basic training, and we can't be complacent just because we have learned advanced ninjutsu or opened our eyes. Those are external things. In a real dilemma, only your body and will not betray you. Yes, Brother Madara. Yes, Uncle Madara. Izuna and Kyojuro looked educated. Madara was happy. Now that I'm back, let me see how much you two have improved this year. Come on, Kyojuro. Let me see your ninja sword technique that has created a new fighting method. Although he doesn't like competing with others, Kyojuro is full of energy for this kind of training assessment that helps him improve. Yes, Uchiha Madara swung his sword at Kyojuro, and Kyojuro met his sword with his sword. He has been fighting with demons for many years, and is very good at dealing with demons that are stronger and bigger than him. He has his own understanding of the techniques of unloading, borrowing, and dodging. Not only him, but all the pillars have their own opinions on this aspect. After all, human flesh and blood can never compete with demons. But the strongest person in this aspect should be the insect pillar Kocho Shinobu. In terms of instantaneous burst of power, she can even be compared with the rock pillar Sadness Islet. So even though he is 13 years younger than Uchiha Madara, Kyojuro, whose body is not yet fully grown, can still fight Uchiha Madara back and forth with his experience. Of course, this is the premise that Uchiha Madara has not opened a Sharingan and has not used ninjutsu. When Uchiha Madara blew a fireball, Kyojuro relied on his small stature and rolled over to avoid it. Several Uchiha who were watching wanted to stop the fight, but were stopped by a look from Uchiha Madara. Seeing that Kyojuro hadn't even used his ninja sword technique yet, Uchiha Madara concluded that this was not Kyojuro's limit. Fire Style, Phoenix Fire Technique. Fire Style, Phoenix Flower Claw Red. Fire Style, Dragon Fire Technique. This was almost a display of fire style. After Kyojuro dodged repeatedly with his observation, he realized that Uchiha Madara wanted him to attack. Then he tightened his grip on the sword in his hand and adjusted from his original dodging posture to attack. Hub Breathing of Flame. One form. Shiranui. Kyojuro lowered his body, endured the pain of being burned, and shuttled through the gaps of fire style. The distance that had been gradually widened by Uchiha Madara's fire style attack was instantly reduced. He held the hilt of the sword tightly with both hands, with an unstoppable momentum. Sunk his waist, pushed the ground, lifted up, cut. Second form. Rising Inten. Clang the swords in the hands of the two men broke at the same time, and Kyojuro's hilt was close to Uchiha Madara's shoulder, and Uchiha Madara's sword was aimed at Kyojuro's eyes. Very good. Madara threw the broken sword away and picked up Kyojuro, who was already exhausted, from the ground. Kyojuro, you are very good. Your fire escape is more solid than I thought, and it is perfectly integrated with your swordsmanship, as if it has been tempered 1,000 times. If you didn't use an ordinary training sword today, your attack would be more effective. Uchiha Madara was sure that Kyojuro was now stronger than Izuna in terms of swordsmanship and combat awareness of fighting ninjutsu. He was also better at protecting himself in a battle with a huge disparity in strength. Not only that, he could also quickly analyze the enemy's attack rhythm and find the enemy's weaknesses. Madara excitedly lifted Kyojuro up. Kyojuro, you are a fighting genius. You already have the vision and thinking of a first-class strongman. Come on, you must not waste your talent. Seeing that Tachibana Shurhei's weight in the eyes of the daimyo was getting heavier and heavier, Hinokata was anxious. The damn Tachibana villain. Isn't it because he has a connection with Uchiha? Well, he wants to see if the daimyo will let the wild son of Tachibana continue to stay in the court if Uchiha can't pay the business tax next year. This time he learned to be smart. After all, no ninja dared to go directly to the Uchiha clan to cause trouble. Hinokata simply changed his mind. He didn't do anything to anyone. He wanted to affect the white porcelain business of the Uchiha family. Originally, he was thinking of letting his men find a way to reproduce the white porcelain, but the daimyo's edict was announced. Even if they really succeeded in replicating it, they couldn't sell it openly. But if Uchiha can't make white porcelain this year, his people will definitely make a lot of money by taking the white porcelain they made and calling it the Uchiha white porcelain they snatched last year. So, the fire party hired Senju to destroy the earthen kiln where the Uchiha family made porcelain. When Senju Fukan saw the content of the task, he just laughed. Seeing the generous reward, he gladly accepted it. TSK, TSK, TSK. Uchiha is really the god of wealth of their Senju. If you have any relationship with their family, you can't count the zeros in the task money. That day, Uchiha Taijima was going to the workshop to talk to the person in charge about the transformation of peas. Seeing that it was getting dark, he simply rested in the house next to the workshop. In the middle of the night, Taijima, who was sleeping well, was covered with his mouth and nose, and his face was covered with wet mucus. He was awakened instantly and raised his hand to kill the unknown creature lying on his face. Don't kill him. This is the slime of the slug fairy. It's good for the body. A pretentious voice sounded in the darkness. Uchiha Taijima looked outside the courtyard and tore off the slug on his face. Chief Senju, you came here so late at night, and you came alone. If you don't want to live, find a place to commit suicide. Don't dirty our Uchiha territory. Seeing that Uchiha Taijima was awake and had no intention of attacking, Senju Fujin flipped in from outside the courtyard. Taijima looked at him strangely. Your chakra level. Why is it so low? Senju Fujin took back the slug and said casually, I used a sealing technique to seal most of the chakra. Otherwise, I couldn't get in here at all. Aren't you afraid that I will take the opportunity to kill you? Will you? Merchant Uchiha Taijima. Taijima put on a coat and said, Tell me what it is. The thousand-armed Buddhist said, Let's cooperate. Taijima's kunai instantly reached Senjubuma's chest. You want to annex Uchiha? You couldn't do it before, and you can't do it now. Senjubutama slowly pushed kunai away. Don't worry, I haven't mentioned the cooperation mode yet. He expressed his thoughts like this. How about it? This is better than just working for the daimyo. Taijima pondered. With all due respect, the fundamental purpose of your idea is to ensure that enough ninjas are willing to join your transnational alliance. But now, you can't even win over the ninjas from your own country. Hehe. Aren't there still you Uchiha? You let us make money first, and other ninjas will naturally come. Taijima rolled his eyes. Do we Uchiha look like we're being taken advantage of? Thousand-armed Buddha didn't panic at all. Your stall is getting bigger and bigger. Aren't you short of manpower? You pay and we do the work. Isn't that what you're doing now? Take this barrel order, for example. Taijima smiled. It had to be said that his old rival still knew Uchiha very well. They did have this intention. After all, the Senju are a powerful clan in the ninja world. If the Senju can be the first to accept Uchiha's commission, other small ninjas will follow suit. Yes, but Chief Senju, this doesn't seem to be the reason why you must come here in the middle of the night. After confirming Taijima's intention to cooperate, Senjubujin also relaxed a lot. He leaned on the door frame and said casually, I'm here to tell you that the Fire Fong wants to kill you. He didn't dare. Hey, it's boring. Thousand-armed Buddha shrugged. He asked me to dismantle your white porcelain clay kiln. I don't know what his plans are after that. You should pay attention to it. What else can the old guy do? He just wants to take advantage of the opportunity to create a vacancy in the market and sell their low-quality white porcelain at a high price. Now that they know the intention of the Fire Fong, it would be unreasonable not to trick him in turn. I know, let's go. Thousand-armed Buddha threw a scroll to Taijima. This can contact the Slug Immortal. I will rely on this for future messages. After that, he turned to leave, but Taijima has stopped him. As a token of sincerity for cooperation, I can introduce you to a commission. What? The Tachibana family want a machine that can weave quickly. Thanks. After the thousand-armed Buddha left, Uchiha Taijima stroked the slug scroll in his hand and thought, since we want to create a fire recipe, let's invite Tachibana to join us. After all, the Huazafang family also has a fabric business. Chapter 39, Evil Ghost. This year's Uchiha New Year is very busy. Uchiha went out for a year to experience. After returning, he was caught by Taijima and went to each family in the clan to send New Year's gifts, chat, refuse to force the marriage, say goodbye, and then move on to the next family. Izuna and Anjuro took the list given by Taijima and sent warmth to the families of orphans and widowers on the list to see if there was any help that the clan could provide. By the way, they urged the children who had reached the age to go to the clan in the spring. Learn to learn. On the road, I also met many young couples who had just got married this year, vying to hug Xing Zhilong, hoping to soak up the happiness of the big baby. After the transfer within the clan is completed, all the Uchiha clan members who have been traveling around the country this year have rushed back to the Fire Nation clan. Uchiha Madara, the confirmed next clan leader, must go with Taijima to meet and chat with the clan members and listen to their work reports. This is also what a clan leader must do. Uchiha Madara, where is Izuna? Why don't you come to Quan Na? Trying to get my brother to join me. Quan Nai. I'm sorry, Brother Madara. I know these people very well who told you to hide out. Anjuro, Uncle Madara, come on. Among these tribesmen, there are managers who are stationed in workshops, businessmen who run shops in the capital, caravans traveling between the Kingdom of Thunder and the Kingdom of Fire, and spies who have been lurking in the dark, etc. Wait. On the afternoon of New Year's Eve, the three Uchiha who officially took over this clan activity for the first time in the Uchiha clan leader's house were all exhausted. When they thought that all these tasks had been handled by Taijima alone, the three people's respect for Taijima was like a torrential river. Taijima placed a small gold cube on the foreheads of the three children who fell on the ground one by one. It's your first time and you're quite tired. Later, there will be less trouble later. Uchiha struggled to get up. You'll get used to it later. Paralysis. Anjuro turned 7 this year, and Taijima began to treat him like an adult. Although the requirements for him are not as strict as those for Uchiha Madara, he is also required to try his best to remember the names and appearances of all Uchiha who have returned to the clan and to have a general understanding of their current work. As for Uchiha Madara, he must listen to the work report of the clan members this year and must summarize and refine it before telling it to Taijima. Quan Nai's mission is to understand the local situation through the words of these tribesmen in order to collect intelligence and better plan next year's work. Andrew swore that he had never seen so many Uchiha. Although they have different temperaments, some are experienced and some are not familiar with the world, but they all have black hair and delicate faces and wear dark blue ethnic uniforms. They gathered together to form a prestigious surname, Uchiha. Uchiha gradually developed into a towering tree in the land of fire and was deeply buried in the land of this country. The next day, the first day of a new year, Uchiha's tradition was to visit the shrine in the back mountain and look forward to the blessings of the gods. Uchiha's shrine is very exquisitely built, and there are cherry blossom trees planted around the praying platform. Uchiha Taijima stood at the front and rang the first bell of the new year. He thought about the three children who were standing behind him now and prayed to his ancestors to bless Uchiha's future prosperity. Madara likes fighting and loves his family, so he must cultivate the opponent's force value and innate sense of responsibility. He must be Uchiha's sword and maintain the will to fight in a peaceful environment. Izuna is emotionally sensitive, smart, and resourceful, so he cultivates his intelligence analysis ability. He wants to be Uchiha's shadow, analyze complex situations, and assist Uchiha Madara in gaining benefits for the family. Anjuro is a good and open-minded boy. He values love and gives back love. Due to his special background, Taijima tries his best to let him feel the love of the Uchiha family. When faced with a choice, he chooses Uchiha. He wants to be the root of Uchiha. He thought that he had taught 3 very good children for Uchiha's future. Under his leadership, Uchiha had found a new way out. Perhaps as a clan leader and a father, he did a pretty good job. Enjuro followed his father, and after paying homage, he went to take a close look at the ancestral stone slabs in the family plot. Along the way, how he introduced, the history of this stone slab is even older than that of the Uchiha clan. It is said to have been left by the sage of 6 paths. What can Enjuro see? Picture story of the moon goddess. Enjuro stared at the stone slab in the center of the shrine wall, feeling that something was wrong. The aura on the stone slab was obscure and incomprehensible, and after feeling it carefully, it felt a little inconsistent. He frowned. Why was this aura similar to that of a ghost? Is it some special power in this world? This stone slab has its own magic. The content engraved on it changes according to the reader's eye strength. Uchiha Koichi showed off his 3 Magatama Sharingan. What I see now is the method to open the kaleidoscope. The second uncle and Madara opened the kaleidoscope, and what they saw should be other contents. At this moment, Madara Uchiha also walked into the shrine. Madara, what did you see on the stone slab? Uchiha Madara pursed his lower lip. Nothing, I just talked about the direction of Manjikyu's ability development. I'm going out first, brother Hao E. Xingjiang. Hao E. waved his hand and continued to talk to Enjuro. When Enjuro opens his eyes, he will be able to realize the magic of this stone slab for himself. The two left the shrine. Enjuro sighed. Dad, you are so powerful. You can understand texts written thousands of years ago. Hao E. was stunned for a moment. What writings were written 1,000 years ago? It's a slate. The slate was left over from 1,000 years ago. The words on it should also be from 1,000 years ago. Xingqiu was unaware of it. He was thinking about the notes of Yinzhu from past generations that were kept in his family in his previous life. He could only understand the notes from the last 1 or 200 years. For the older ones, he had to rely on the annotations left by his father. Understand, it's amazing that Uchiha can understand texts written thousands of years ago without any effort. After listening to Enjuro's words, Hao Yi's relaxed breath disappeared. Xingqiu, you go and play with your friends. I have something to tell your uncle and grandpa. Okay, Daddy. Looking at his son's back, gradually walking away, Hao Yi's face became increasingly ugly. There should be writings written thousands of years ago on the slate. Why can they understand it so smoothly? As far as he knew, the writing they used now was the result of 2 major reforms. The differences between kanji, manyokana, and hiragana in ancient Japanese are quite different. But why are the stone slabs from thousands of years ago filled with a large number of manyokana? The Menyoshu only has a history of 700 years. How could people from 1,000 years ago use the Manyosakana? There is something wrong with the slate. After finding Taijima, the two locked eyes with each other and relying on the Sharingan. Koichi told all the things that were wrong that he noticed after Anjuro's reminder. Finally, he added, Second uncle, this is just my speculation. Could it be that the slate was re-engraved by a certain generation of Uchiha, and this became the current writing habit? Taijima shook his head. No, only the text was changed. The original painting of Princess Kaguya was not changed. Someone deliberately changed the text to mislead the Uchiha clan. The text on the tablet is all about the Sharingan. If there is a problem with this part, it means that there is something wrong with the method used by the clan to advance the Sharingan. He thought about what he saw when he turned on the kaleidoscope, and his expression turned ugly, as if he had discovered that his ancestral grave had been dug up. Oh shit. After returning home in the evening, several people from the patriarch's house held a family meeting, especially the two who had opened the Manjiki Sharingan. After Taijima explained, Madara became obviously more relaxed and started playing the cat's paw game with the 9 llamas. Taijima glanced at his eldest son and told him to be happy without saying anything. Later, Koichi asked, how did Anjuro notice something was wrong with the stone slab? I feel the aura above. It doesn't look like a living person. Not a living person? The 3 great Uchiha were all shocked. They originally thought that some ninja who wanted to harm the Uchiha had maliciously modified the stone slab. But Anjuro actually said that the aura on the stone slab did not look like a living person. How who was afraid of ghosts, still wanted to struggle. Is it the aura of the immortal of six paths? Immortals are not living people either. Zenjuro shook his head. That feeling is sticky and cold. Isn't that a ghost? For a moment, there seemed to be a dark wind floating around. Although they were in a warm room, the three Uchiha felt that something was moving around them. Uchiha Koichi couldn't help but tremble. Really or not? Which of their ninjas doesn't have a few lives on their hands? If there's really a bad ghost here, then wouldn't it mean that the enemies who died at the beginning can come back to seek revenge on them? Anjuro puffed up his chest. At this moment, he understood his mission in this world. If the person doing the manipulation is a non-human being, then he will be the one to cut off its head. He is a professional ghost hunter. After the new year, spring in the Fire Country is coming soon. Except for Uchiha Taijima, who inexplicably ordered several tribesmen to go to the Kingdom of Demons with Uchiha Koichi, there was nothing strange happening in the tribe. People in the agriculture department were also preparing for spring farming step by step. Xingjiang was thinking about the seedling cultivation mentioned by his master before, so he ran to his house early to report. After having a bowl of sweet potato porridge at Boyan's house, Anjuro took out all the cabbage seeds he had collected. When a cabbage pitcher no longer throws cabbage, it means that they are producing seeds. At this time, you need to wait patiently for a few days until the seeds can fall off the cabbage pitcher with a gentle rub with your hands, and you can harvest the seeds. After harvesting, they should be dried in time to remove impurities and then wrapped in discarded paper for storage. Boyan checked the seeds brought by Xingshoulang. The seeds were full and had not rotted or sprouted. Well done. After Anjuro turned 7, he no longer taught Anjuro step by step how to take care of plants as he had done when he was a child. Instead, he let him learn from nearby farmers and think about how to save seeds and plant them. By the way, the experimental field will be expanded again this year. You can clear 2 more plots of land with exploding cherries someday. Okay, master, I'll go tomorrow. Anjuro first soaked the seeds in warm water and sprinkled water on a wooden trough filled with soil in the house. Tell me why you do this. Because the seeds are store dry. Soaking them in wet water and then planting them in soil with sufficient moisture can help the seeds germinate faster. Yes, Anjuro is so smart. Who wouldn't like an apprentice who can draw inferences from one example and draw analogies from others after the soil was completely infiltrated by water? Kyojuro took out the seeds from the water, sprinkled them evenly on the soil, and covered them with a thin layer of soil. Finally, he covered the wooden trough with a mat made of corn leaves. It's done. Come and take a rest. Whether it can sprout or not, we have to wait for 5 days. Boyan always has a lot of snacks that Kyojuro likes to eat here. After washing his hands, Kyojuro sat next to his master and slowly thought about what to do next. After they sprout, they have to be divided into single plants. When they grow bigger, the indoor temperature should be gradually lowered so that they can adapt to the temperature outside as much as possible, and finally they can be transferred to the outdoor fields. The uncle said that they should continue to test the conditions for planting peas and corn together. Tomorrow I will go to open the land. The cherry seeds left behind can be used to plant new cherry trees. Do you want a new cherry tree, master? There are cherry blossoms in my yard. Maybe it will affect the fruiting of cherries, so plant them at your grandmother Keiko's house. Okay, don't forget to reserve some manpower in advance. You will summon new plants this year. Tachibana was sitting in the tea room drinking tea and heard people talking outside. Master Jinghe, you are back. Well, is my father in there? He put down the book in his hand, stood up and walked out while straightening his clothes. I've been away for so long, and Li Hua is still talking about it. He looked at the acquaintance standing next to Jinghe and was stunned for a moment. Chief Senju? I am Senju Fujin, and I am here to meet Master Tachibana. Senju Fujin rarely changed his ninja costume and came to visit in formal clothes. Tachibana Shurhei glanced at Jinghe, and Jinghe made a gesture of cloth business. He understood and smiled slightly. Since you are a guest, why are you led here? You should go to the front hall. But in this case, it happens that Senju clan leader can try my tea. Obedience is worse than respect. Jinghe, go and get some tea. After sending everyone away, Tachibana Jihei sat back in his seat. Let's not beat around the bush. We are also acquaintances. I wonder why Senju clan leader came this time. Senju Fujin took the teacup handed by Tachibana Jihei with both hands. Ha! I also heard some rumors and wanted to invite you to visit my home. Tachibana Jihei raised his eyebrows and remembered the news from Uchiha before the new year. So soon there is a result? I didn't know before that the Senju family had this ability. Okay, it happens that these few days of New Year's Day, with the protection of Senju, it's not bad to go out for a walk. You want to go out and play, not to go to the Senju family specifically. Senju Fujin smiled honestly. The Senju family will provide you with the best service. Don't worry, he understands. Chapter 40 Fireworks Fire Release Phoenix Immortal Fire Technique. Yuki Uchiha kicked his foot on the ground and jumped up. The wire in his hand shook, guiding the flame to move along the wire. 6 fireballs instantly hit Anjuro. Xingjiang didn't hide, but moved forward. He twisted his waist and abdomen, causing his whole body to spin. Breath of Fire. Type 4. The Winding Winds of Shangyan. I don't want to spar with you anymore. Xingjiang, your sword skills are simply cheating. Just now, Anjuro used the 4th type, which is specially designed to deal with large-scale attacks, while rotating and advancing. The blade controlled on the outside directly shattered the fireball spit out by Jin. You can attack forward while releasing ninjutsu, with a knife as an assist. My ninjutsu can only be released after forming a seal. I must figure out how to defeat your sword skills. Xingjiang was a little embarrassed. After all, he had memories and experiences from his previous life, and he felt like he was bullying the children. Jin, who was watching the battle from the sidelines, came up with an idea. Xingjiang, don't you have any moves that can attack multiple targets at the same time? It feels like your current moves only attack the direction the blade is facing. Jin is right, because the breathing method is a sword technique created to kill evil ghosts. If you want to kill evil ghosts, you must cut their necks. Even if you attack the key points of several ghosts at the same time, relying on the ghost's quick repair, the ability will not cause any harm to them, but will put the attacking swordsman into danger due to a missed blow. But this is not absolute. The insect Hashira and butterfly ninja, who are good at using poison, mostly use sword moves of the combo thrust type, because she can pierce the venom that is fatal to the ghost at the same time as the sword penetrates. She does not need to specifically aim at the ghost's neck. Stinging type? Anjuro thought that his enemies in this life should be humans, but he didn't want to kill anyone. But if it is really for self-protection and the battle can be ended by making the opponent lose the ability to attack, that is enough. Moreover, in a simple competition, the thrusting type is kinder than the one aimed at the neck. Kim, you've been a big help. Anjuro happily patted his good brother on the shoulder, and Jin bumped back with a smile. Andrew sat on a tree stump and thought about the butterfly ninja's insect breath move. Butterfly dance. No, his body is not as light as a butterfly. Dance a bee fangs. This move is a single target thrust. Dragonfly dance? It's doable. This move is a quick 6-stab attack, but his knife isn't suitable for it. Wait, does he also have a thunder knife fong? Although the thunder knife is a double sword, using one alone can also provide the blessing of thunder escape, and the front end of the thunder knife has a stabbing blade, which is very suitable for thrusting. Anjuro held the wooden sword in both hands and started to swing it. Alas, butterfly, but he couldn't say anything. After all, he fought against Shang Xian-san with the belief that he would die. He took a deep breath. His body, which was already a little tired from training and fighting, seemed to be energized. He even felt as energetic as when he first got up. He raised the wooden sword in his hand to the front. He slightly bent his legs and placed his left hand under the back of the sword. The power was transmitted from his feet to his arms. Pierce out. Although it is a thrust, it feels more like the Shizuka wave thrust used by Tomioka. Anjuro retracted the wooden sword, held his chin, and watched the sparring of his friends while thinking about the kata to be developed. How can we carry out precise attacks on multiple targets instantly? Although his purgatory is a wide area attack, is not a precise attack on a point. It is also because there are no loopholes that Shang Xian San can inevitably take advantage of his move. Fire release. Impatience flower claws are red. While using the Phoenix Fire technique, Uchiha Yu attached flames to the flying shurikens, making the shurikens mixed with scorching heat like impatience flowers scattered all over the sky. Substitution. Uchiha Jin simply got out of the fire attack range, but he didn't know that Uchiha Yu was waiting for his move. You used the teleportation technique to appear at Jin's scheduled appearance. Kicked him off the tree. Jin, I told you to pay attention to your fighting habits. Who would pay attention to this except you? The voices of the friends gradually faded away, and Xingqiu Lang's eyes were only filled with the flames like the flowers scattered by a goddess. One center, multiple attack points. He thought of the blacksmithing skills he had seen performed by street performers. The blazing flames spread out and spread throughout the sky. Yes, the power of thunder is scattered, and the power of flame is winding. If the flame burns along the lines struck by lightning. He thought about the lines on the lightning struck what he had seen before, scattered and numerous. Thrust. And Juro picked up the wooden sword next to him and struck it with powerful force, directly piercing the big tree opposite him. Bang! The tree collapsed suddenly, and its cross-section stretched out in 8 directions like a spider web, splitting the entire tree lengthwise. The friends were shocked. How long has it been since the suggestion, Jean said, and a new trick has come out? Are all geniuses so perverted? And Juro breathed a long sigh of relief and put away the wooden knife that was also broken in his hand. Breath of fire, 6 types fireworks. Shuet touched the fracture lines of the trees and asked, "Did you use thunder escape on the sword?" No, not entirely. Both thunder and fire were used. Xing Shuro was full of energy. Yes, it fits perfectly with Thunderblade Fong. He was amazed and felt that he was inspired. He also has Thunder Attribute Chakra. Maybe he can add Steel Wire to the Red Impatience Flower Claws just now. Combining Fire Release with Shuriken Training, you can use wires and shurikens to conduct Thunder Release. Jean patted the wood and the black ash on his hand. But is this still a single attack point? Anjuro. No matter what trouble the multi-point stabbing moves caused to Anjuro, the thing that came before the new moves was his birthday. Uchiha Madara said while cleaning the yard, Senja Hashirama's wood release is too cheating. Most of the techniques use only one seal, and no matter how many there are only 2 or 3 seals. Our Uchiha's fire release usually requires 5 to 6 seals tisk. So, the key to wood release is not in the fingerprints at all, but in the intention of the caster. The 9 llamas are as quiet as chickens. Xingjuro might as well stop forming seals this time and see if he can summon plants with just his thoughts. Enjuro. Of course that's possible. Despite this, Xingjiang still made a sign of sea seal, still maintaining respect for Mu Dun, whom he had rubbed against for so many years. The master had said before that he should pay attention to the necessities of life besides food, but he didn't know what he could summon this time. Bang! A green thing slowly emerged in the middle of the yard. Leaf Umbrella is here, except for Izuna, who was working overtime in the intelligence department, and Koichi, who was invited to Senju's house by Tachibana. The 3 Uchiha at home looked around at the newly summoned plant for a long time. This thing is a radish? Why are the leaves so big? Uncle Ban, radish grows in the ground, and it says it's called a leaf umbrella. Enjuro looked at the introduction on the panel and said, "Its leaves are a good thing." Bang, said the leaf protector. Do you like this? I can do it again. Bang. Wow. That's me popping up the leaves quickly to protect things around me. If it relies on leaves to protect its surroundings, then the hardness and toughness of the leaves should be good. Leaf. Taijima poked the leaf of the leaf umbrella. It's so small. What use can it be used for? Uchiha Madara took out a kunai and said, "You'll know if you try it. Call out, bang." The kunai that Uchiha Madara threw tentatively was bounced away by the leaf that grew in size instantly. It's interesting. He held the shuriken and struck it hard. Although I failed to scratch the leaves, the leaf did not become larger this time. How did it get bigger just now? Could it be that it was something to be thrown over? He picked up a stone from the ground and threw it over. The leaves are getting bigger again. Really? This time, Uchiha Kyojuro decisively blew fire release on the leaves and watched with satisfaction as the leaves grew bigger again. Taijima's quick eyesight and quick hands cut off all the leaves before they retracted. Father, you just cut them all off? What if they can't regenerate? Can it be regenerated? The leaves that were cut off just now slowly grow back. Taijima turned over and looked at the big leaves in his hand. How can this be used? To make pancakes. Xingjiang raised his hand and suggested, Uncle, can this be used as armor? He thought of the team uniforms worn by the members of the Demon Slayer Corps in the previous life. They were made of special fibers and had excellent breath ability. They were also highly resistant to moisture and flames and could not be protected by the claws and teeth of weak devils. Rip the uniform. Can the fibers of leaf umbrellas also achieve this effect? Armor? Nowadays, the better armors are usually made of leather, and the slightly richer people use iron. However, the leaf in front of you feels very elastic and should feel a little stronger than leather. What Xingjiang said is feasible. Madara, you asked Xiaofu to find the third elder and Mrs. Keiko. I remember that their family still has the handbook for making cloth armor that they left behind. To make cloth armor, you must first find a way to turn leaves into cloth. Mrs. Keiko is an expert in textiles in the family. She still has a loom in her home, but she doesn't use it often. She tore the big green leaf lengthwise and touched the fibers where the leaf had broken when it was torn. It should work. Let me try. She pointed to the clearly visible white fibers of the leaves and said, this is stronger than ordinary hemp, and it is a special plant. If it can be made into cloth armor, it can not only be worn close to the body to increase defense, but it may also have other effects. Other effects? Well, didn't Madara say this can prevent fire escape? I suggest you make a cloth umbrella first and try all the ninjutsu attacks with different attributes to see if my guess is true. Just do it. Keiko knows how to use a scraper to scrape off all the fleshy parts of the leaves. Then soak the remaining parts in water, wash them, rub them gently, and hang them on the closed drying pole in the yard. Let dry for several days. The resulting leaf fibers are white and elegant, and even feel a little like cat fur in the sun. After the fiber is slightly soaked in water, the fiber is separated into filaments. Several filaments are connected and then twisted into a complete thick thread. Finally, this thick thread was wound around a wooden stick to form a ball of thread. A total of dozens of large and small balls of thread were made. Of course, this part, including the weaving at the back, was done by several female workers who had woven cloth at home and were transferred from the workshop. Otherwise, they might not be able to finish the work even in winter. After the last white leaf cloth was completed, Taijima simply gave a bonus to the female workers who were recruited. Each of them could get 50 coins in addition to their wages, about enough to buy a liter of rice. Female workers, come me next time. Keiko touched the finished leaf cloth and looked at it against the light. The gaps between the fibers were almost invisible. It feels soft and strong, but I don't know how defensive it is. The leaf cloth is sweat-absorbent, breathable, and durable. It doesn't feel rough when rubbed against the skin. It is a good material for making clothes, but what they are most concerned about is the defensive performance of the cloth. The third elder Fukutaro cut a piece of the whole cloth and took it home to make an umbrella. The rest of the cloth was kept at the clan leader's house. It happened that Izuna also came back. He was pulled by Kyojuro to see the cloth that had just been completed. Looking at these white cloths, he suddenly had an idea and cut a small piece off, carrying Taijima on his back. For the first time, Kyojuro felt the feeling of being a thief at home. He asked, Uncle, what do you want this for? And you only took such a small piece. Izuna carefully sensed for a while and made sure that Taijima was still asleep and did not notice his sneaking around. Then he explained, paper is also fiber. The seal scroll is made of paper. The seal array can be drawn on paper, and it can even seal ninjutsu. So, have you thought of anything? What? This new cloth at home may also carry a seal array. Izuna, who was a little excited and a little loud, was silent for a moment. He listened carefully and made sure there was no sound. He spread the small piece of cloth on the table and gently tapped the cloth with a brush dipped in ink. Look, the ink absorption is great. You can really write on it. Kyojuro looked at his uncle who was doing experiments with great interest, then looked at his uncle who was greeting him through the open tiles on the roof, and finally looked at his uncle who was hiding outside the window. Uncle, what are you going to draw? A ninjutsu ceiling formation? No, I'm going to draw an illusion formation. Hee hee, if a kanai suddenly pops out of the document when someone is reading it, I'll definitely see them dodge or fight back. Kyojuro didn't know when others could dodge or fight back, but he knew that Uncle Azuna was about to do so, just relying on the uncle who was jumping down from the roof. Last time, Tachibana went to Uchiha under the protection of Senju, and this time he came to the Senju family under the protection of Uchiha. Because the two parties have signed a preliminary cooperation contract, in order to show the sincerity of Uchiha, Uchiha Taijima only let Koichi and a few young people in the clan take on this task. Taijima, if Koichi can do it again with Kyojuro's mother, maybe they Uchiha will have another would release. Uchiha Koichi stood beside Tachibana with mixed feelings and walked into the Senju clan's territory under the guidance of the Senju Buddha. Of course, he didn't open the Sharingan. Koichi himself didn't expect that he could suppress his instinct to open his eyes when surrounded by the Senju. Hearing that Uchiha had come to the clan, Senjuan, who came to join in the fun, hid in the crowd and saw Uchiha Koichi, who was a bit more handsome than everyone else around. And why is this beautiful lady here? Is Tachibana his father? Chapter 41 Black Zetsu is anxious. This is Spinning Wheel. Tachibana was led by Senju Buddha to a yard of Senju's house. In the yard was a spinning machine, but you have increased the number of spindles. Tachibana is very knowledgeable about textile-related tools. He stepped forward and took a look at the circular spinning wheel in the yard, which was as tall as a person. The number of spindles in front of the machine increased from the commonly used 4 to 32, allowing more spindles to be wound at one time. Yarn strips, but the problem is this thing is too big for ordinary people to operate alone. Thousand-Armed Buddha, Jin, pointed to the key points of the entire spinning machine and said, "Sir, please see, we have removed the pedals and installed a runner so that we can use the power of the water flow to drive the spinning wheel to rotate." After that, he signaled his tribe to release the small water escape, drive the entire spinning wheel, and let Tachibana see the effect. Tachibana was overjoyed. There are many rivers in Taga Castle. If we can use the rivers in the city that don't stop day and night to drive, then we can spin yarn day and night. Okay, great. Please ask the Senju clan leader to send someone to move this spinning wheel to Taga Castle for actual testing. He spun the spinning wheel a few times. Okay, I didn't expect the Senju family to have such ability. Chief Senju, if this spinning wheel can rotate smoothly in Taga City, I will ask Senju for another favor. Seeing that the business was about to be completed, Thousand-Armed Buddha smiled and said, "Sir, please tell me. I also want you to invent a loom that is also powered by water power. You give us some time, we can do it." Jusuk nodded with satisfaction. He really didn't expect that there were such useful people among ninjas. Was it because his understanding of ninjas was too simple in the past? Senju Budama was discussing business in the yard. Senju Shing felt bored and hid in a tree outside the courtyard. Under the pretext of spying on Uchiha, she got close to Uchiha Koichi. "Hi, beauty." Uchiha Kichi looked around, and after finding that there was no one else around, he nodded. "Long time no see, Shing." Senju Shing saw the big beauty smiling and jumped down from the tree. "Beauty, why are you here, Senju? Are you here with your father?" "Father?" Uchiha Koichi was stunned for a moment, and then he laughed. Although he knew that Shing had misunderstood his identity at first, he didn't expect that she hadn't recognized him today. "Shing, I'm an Uchiha." He turned around and showed the Uchiha clan emblem on his back. Oh, Uchiha. There was only one sentence left in Senju Shing's mind. No wonder the beauty is so good-looking. It turns out to be an Uchiha, etc. Then she was the child of Uchiha. Damn it, she's so awesome. Fortunately, he gave the baby to Hao-I to raise. Otherwise, he would have been talked about to death by his elder brother. Uchiha Koichi saw that his beloved woman was still as lively as before, and he was filled with emotions for a while. He wanted to ask how Shing was doing these years, and also wanted to talk about his life with Shing Juru, and he also wanted to express his feelings about the wonderful cooperation between the two clans. These words were squeezed out of my mouth, and only one sentence remained. Xing, are you okay? Senju Xing came out of the arrogant state with arms akimbo and saw the melancholy look of the great beauty. Reflexively, she wanted to reach out and touch his cheek. Before her hands could touch her, Senju Hashirama's voice suddenly sounded. Sister-in-law, where are you? Father is calling you. Senju Anzu firmly touched Uchiha Koichi's face, then jumped up the tree, leaving Koichi's back behind. I'm leaving first. On the other side of the courtyard wall, Senju Hashirama and Senju Anzu were chatting and walking under the gaze of Uchiha. Sister-in-law, were you chatting with Uchiha just now? What were you talking about? Let's strike up a conversation because he looks good. Senjuin recalled the face of Uchiha Koichi, Hihi, a melancholy beauty. Hihi Senju Hashirama thought about the looks of the young Uchihas who came to Senju today, and then recalled the handsome faces of his best friends. Does it look good? I think Madara is the prettiest. Senju Anzu said seriously, Uchiha Madara is more beautiful, and she's not the same type as the beauty I just talked about. As a tasteful person who likes to appreciate beauty, Senju Anzu certainly remembered Uchiha Madara's face, which was quite good-looking, but his aura was too strong. Hashirama nodded. His best friend was indeed bright and handsome, but that Uchiha looks a bit like Madara. They belong to the same clan, of course. Huh, really? Senju Hashirama rubbed his chin. I always feel that the Uchiha's eyebrows and eyes look exactly the same as Madara's. Tobirama and Hashirama are very similar, except that Tobirama is an albino version. With the blessing of white hair and taste emphasis, he looks much more handsome than Hashirama. The cloth made from the fiber extracted from the leaf umbrella, as Mrs. Keiko expected, does have strong ninjutsu defensive properties. Specifically refers to long-range throwing ninjutsu, such as fire release, thunder release, water release, wind release, etc. If it is a physical attack like earth release and earth release, which is made of rock and soil shaped into a weapon, its defensive properties are very average. But it's a little better than ordinary leather. Anjuro also received an undergarment made of this special fabric. As for the application of the illusion formation on cloth that led to Izuna being punished to help the 9 llamas bathe, there were also surprising results. This special cloth can really draw a sealing array, and it also has magical properties. If the sealing formation is drawn with black ink on it, the blackness of the ink will fade away after about an hour, but the effect of the sealing formation will not be affected at all. Invisible cloth. If there was such an invisible cloth, Uchiha would not have to worry about the ninjutsu package he had previously developed being copied by others. Taijima instructed, Mrs. Keiko, this cloth is more effective for ninjas. Can you try to blend the leaf fiber with other capable materials to make a lower quality cloth with a less amazing defensive effect and a sealing array that cannot be drawn on it? If it is pure leaf fiber cloth, they Uchiha must keep it within the clan for use by the clan. If they can develop a blended cloth, they can also consider selling it to outsiders. Mrs. Keiko accepted the task with a smile. She was absolutely confident in completing the requirements. If it is required to be light and thin, it can be mixed with linen. If it is required to keep warm, it can be mixed with cotton thread. It is said that the earliest cotton in Japan was recorded in 799 AD. There should have been cotton as a species during the Warring States period, but I don't know if it was used in making clothes. Should we make the subsequent fabrics in secret, or should we give a recipe to Tachibana? Taijima understood what Mrs. Keiko meant. Uchiha was currently blank in the fabric market. If the Tachibana family had been cultivating the fabric for many years, they might be able to deliver this kind of fabric directly to the homes of dignitaries. We provide finished fiber, and the cloth is delivered to Tachibana's family. Taijima didn't have the slightest worry about being kicked away by Tachibana's family. After all, the key to this special fabric was the leaf umbrella summoned by Anjuro. Again, as long as they can control the uniqueness of the source, they will be invincible. Anjuro is negotiating with Thundersword Fawn. In order to achieve the optimal attack effect of his 6 forms, he dug out the Thunder Knife that had been shelved while facing the disapproval of explosive knife floating. Thunder Knife Fong, which was shaken from sleep, had a stable mood that was completely different from its attack. Kid, you are not the master I want. Your speed is not fast enough. Explosive Knife is your best choice. Don't come to me. Anjuro held the knife and communicated with it. I need your help. My newly developed sword move combines the power of thunder and fire. If you don't want me to use it, you can give me some suggestions for improvement. I had some problems developing the thrust type. If Thunder Knife Fong is the second person in the world who understands thrusting sword moves, no one dares to call it the first. Over the long years, every one of his users was a ninja who was extremely good at using thrusts. Time took them away, but left their experience to Thunder Knife Fong. Okay, kid, let me take a look. Anjuro clenched the wakizashi in his hand. Breath of Fire, Type 6 fire trees, and silver flowers. The flames spread upward along the lightning strike pattern, and the target was broken into 8 pieces. What do you think? Thunderblade Fong. I have some appreciation for this child. He is able to develop his own moves at a young age. There is no doubt that he is a genius in swordsmanship. He is also willing to say a few words to those who are talented. Kid, you rely too much on slashing. Cutting is not the only effective attack. Don't look at your knife as a line, focus on it. Remember, the thrust is the point. Point Anjuro looked at the broken lines of the target. Yes, his flames were still winding along the lines. Point, it must be point. That's why Butterfly's knife abandoned the blade and only kept the tip. The correct answer had been placed in front of him from the beginning, but he had ignored it for so long. As the cooperation between the 3 companies around textiles took shape, Kisuke was very happy, Uchiha was very happy, and Senju was also very happy. Black is never happy. Otsutsuki Kuretsu, the 3rd son of Otsutsuki Kagaya, has been hiding in the dark for thousands of years, working conscientiously and saving his mother. So he is also called Otsutsuki Agarwood, Bushi. He provoked the hostility between Senju and Uchiha just to cultivate another pair of samsara eyes so that his mother could escape from the moon. Originally, he had chosen the candidate for the samsara eye, the reincarnation of Indra in this life, Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara is not only the most similar to Indra among the previous reincarnations, but also has a similar temperament and preferences. He also has a younger brother who can be used as the material to evolve into the eternal Manjiki Sharingan. Everything was fine, but Uchiha Madara also awakened the Manjiki Sharingan. Not only did he conquer the 9 tails himself, he also took the 9 tails to find the other 8-tailed beasts. During that time, Black Zetsu was busy waking up the tailed beasts sleeping in various deep mountains and old forests, and sent them to Uchiha Madara's path, hoping that he could gather 9-tailed beasts. Unexpectedly, Uchiha Madara not only inherited Indra's temperament, but also learned Indra's fluff control. After playing for a while, he only praised the 2 tails and the 9 tails, and even when facing Vulpix, he took a direct detour. Detoured, Heiju almost fainted from anger. This reincarnation of Indra was simply the most unmotivated class he had ever led. How can you not fight Vulpix just because he doesn't look good? Uchiha Madara, disgusted, it's actually a slug, slimy. After returning to the land of fire with Uchiha Madara, Black Zetsu felt that the world seemed to have changed. When did Uchiha start doing business? It was still the grain business. Wasn't it Ashura who liked to mingle with farmers? What the hell? They are ninjas. What kind of business is this? Go fight for him. Black Zetsu ran around the Uchiha clan all night in anger and went to the Uchiha clan shrine to look at his biggest trump card, barely letting it go. Young people nowadays are getting more and more outrageous. Black Zetsu muttered to himself as he took the next step of his plan and began to think of ways to awaken Uchiha Madara's brothers, Manjiki Sharingan. Speaking of opening Uchiha's eyes, he was too familiar with it, as long as he killed his most important person in front of Uchiha. Uchiha Madara's brother. Who is that important? Uchiha Mori? The relationship is average, just a teammate. Uchiha Kyojuro? Damn, what's wrong with this kid? He smells disgusting, just as disgusting as Yui. He doesn't look like an Uchiha who is easy to fool. In the end, only Uchiha Taijima was left. After Black Zetsu decided on his target, he was ready to use his dirty tricks to stir up a new conflict between Senju and Uchiha, preferably to arouse Senju's murderous intent and let Senju Fujin kill Uchiha Taijima. Because Uchiha Taijima is a Mangeki, he is quite good at fighting, and for some reason, he can still see things after opening the Mangeki for 15 years. Black Zetsu waited outside the door of Senju's house unwillingly for several days before Senju Fujin came out. It's not that he didn't want to go in, but mainly because the Senju family is all young, and he doesn't feel comfortable staying inside. And there is also the reincarnation of Ajura, who knows fairy arts. If he is discovered, he will be finished. As soon as Senju Fujin went out, he followed him, but who would have thought that Senju Fujin was going to the capital to discuss business, and brought that Tachibana with him? Black Zetsu felt that something he didn't want to see was about to happen. Would the Senju family also be kidnapped by Tachibana to do business? A week later, Black Zetsu's heart was still hanging. Senju really went to do business and reached a cooperation with Uchiha. Black Zetsu crawled in the dark and twisted underground, screaming and roaring silently. "You are all sick. You are ninjas. Wake up!" After roaring for a long time, Black Zetsu was tired physically and mentally. He even had a heart attack. Forget it, destroy it, cooperate with it. Indra and Ashura were so good at the beginning, but he was instigated to fight and fight for life after life. It's just one more time. Brave Black Zetsu, not afraid of difficulties. This time he didn't count on Senju either. He just didn't believe that, in a ninja world, except Senju Fusama, no one else could kill Uchiha Taijima. Chapter 42. The fire party tries to cause trouble. Hu Jifeng looked at this year's income statement sent over by his subordinates, as if he was a little confused. What's going on? This year's income is actually so much less. He held his knees with one hand and sat cross-legged in front of the table. The expression on his face was half smiling, making it impossible to tell what he was thinking. The subordinate blinked. Sweat dripped from his forehead, and his eyes stung a little. "Sir, the business of Buzhuang is not very good this year. It's not that our people are not serious. It's the Tachibana family. They are too insidious." "Well, continue." The subordinates could not guess Hu Jifeng's emotions, so they could only keep bowing and continue to explain. They got a weird-looking spinning wheel from somewhere. It is said that it can spin 100 kilograms of yarn a day, and there is a matching loom. Their output is too high, and the cost is too low. The price of a piece of cloth is only ours. Half of the people who were unwilling to pay for their cloth went to buy their cloth, and no one came to buy our cloth. Hu Jifeng, the leader of the Huafeng clan, is 67 years old. He has a refined appearance and always shows his emotions and anger. He gently puts the account book in his hand on the table at hand, as if he is asking a sincere question. "Tachibana Jippy Eye has something new. Can't we have it?" There was even more sweat on the men's faces. He didn't even dare to raise his head. He only dared to stare at his toes. My subordinates went to Taga Castle to investigate. The spinning wheel was built by the river. It was very big. The subordinates wanted to dismantle the thing, but for some reason, when we encountered the spinning wheel, it suddenly broke into pieces. There were so many pieces. We thought that this thing was damaged and Tachibana's business would be affected, but who knew that the spinning wheel would be fine again the next day? Senju Tobarama, why did the spinning wheel break down so quickly? It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have broken down if there was no outsider twitching the core. Hurry up and put it together. Fire Fangja closed his eyes. What about our high-end fabrics? Speaking of this, his subordinates became even more frightened. "Sir, Tachibana's family has released a new cloth. It is not only light and elegant, but also fireproof and knife-proof. The big shots are rushing to buy it." "Waste!" Fangja of Fire suddenly burst out and slapped his subordinate on the face. "Why can't we make that kind of cloth? It's all waste." Yes. The subordinates bowed in response to his already red and swollen face. "My subordinates have found that the new cloth uses a special material, but they haven't found out what the material is yet. Please give me some more time, and I will definitely find it out." Fire Fangja returned to his usual appearance, sat back on the chair, picked up the teacup on the table. "Get up." It's normal to make profits and lose money in business. I can't blame you. Where's my porcelain? Seeing his subordinate standing there without saying a word, Hua Jifang glanced at him and said, "Speak." His subordinates knelt down directly. "Sir, our white porcelain has not been sold either." The teacup in Hua Jifang's hand hit the ground directly, and the hot tea spilled all over him. "What?" The subordinate knocked his head heavily on the ground, fearing that he would be angered by the furious Fire Fang. "Sir, we have all been deceived. The Uchiha family's white porcelain is produced as usual." The words of his subordinates successfully diverted Hua Fang's attention, and he bit his nails unconsciously. No, how could they continue to produce as usual? Didn't the Senju family destroy their clay kiln? They didn't sell white porcelain at all in spring and summer. The subordinate kneeling on the ground said, "Yes, my subordinates thought so at first, but who knew that after a few sets of our white porcelain were sold, those buyers who bought the white porcelain suddenly showed up with the white porcelain they bought from us within a few days. Got to the door. They keep saying that our white porcelain is fake." At first, the guys didn't want to admit it, but they simply took out the Uchiha family's white porcelain and said that the quality of our white porcelain was far different from the Uchiha family's. If they didn't give a refund, they had to report this matter. "Give it to your majesty." My subordinates hurriedly calmed down these buyers and sent people to follow them secretly, trying to figure out where the Uchiha white porcelain in their hands came from. That's when I discovered that the Uchiha family's clay kiln was not broken at all. They just want us to think they can't sell it. And when we start selling it, they deliberately make trouble for us. "Sir," Fang Zhe, who was in a state of fire, laughed in anger. "Okay, what a great Kisuk, what a great Uchiha. I can't believe that Tachibana Junpei adopted a son-in-law and could bind him and Uchiha so closely. What a good plan. I underestimated Uchiha before. Well, they're all good." Fire Fangja waved his sleeves, and his men immediately rolled and crawled out of the study. "Uchiha," he remembered. "Well done, Senju." Fangja of Fire and Chihei Tachibana have been working in the court together for nearly 30 years. Based on his understanding of Tachibana Jiping, a mediocre person, this year's various operations are by no means the opponent's usual style. If it were just Tachibana Jipei, he would probably just set the price of the cloth produced by his family cloth shop at a little lower than a market price just to be on the safe side, and then find a way to sell in towns where the Hinokata family didn't have a shop. Then contacting the Uchiha family's white porcelain trap. What else could he not understand? "Okay, since we're going to fight, how can we stop like this?" This time, the Fire Country daimyo did not attack the Uchiha family directly, but instead took a roundabout way to trip them up. He first reminded the Fire Country daimyo inadvertently when reporting the agricultural tax. "Your Majesty, although the Uchiha family's clan land is occupied by them, they do not have a land deed after all. They relied on force to forcibly occupy a large area of good farmland and forests." Hearing what Fire Country daimyo said, he could hardly suppress his smile. Yesterday, he had just heard Tachibana Shiping talk about a little friction between the Uchiha and Fire Country families about white porcelain, and today Fire Country came to him to gossip. He didn't know when these important officials who claim to be literati and scholars in the court also love to gossip like the ladies in the harem. And this matter was not caused by Fire Country's disobedience to his edict and forced the sale of white porcelain. If he hadn't listened to Tachibana's explanation of the whole story yesterday, and had received the Uchiha clan leader's letter of apology and the fine he voluntarily paid, key point, based on his emphasis on land planning during this period, maybe the Fire Country daimyo would have succeeded. The Fire Country daimyo coughed lightly, suppressed the smile on his lips, and said impatiently, "Which ninja family in the Fire Country is not like this? Do you want me to send my own guardian ninja to forcibly attack the Uchiha?" Ha! The old man Fire Country has also come to this day. He chose the woman of the Fire Country as the Imperial Daisho and promoted the Fire Country to deal with the ministers who prevented him from implementing the new policy when he came to power. As for now, the Fire Country daimyo looked at the Fire Country who was still speaking below. If his eldest son wants to inherit his position, he must get rid of this ambitious foreign family. Seeing that his majesty was angry but did not want to take action, Fire Square handed over a memorial and a replica of white porcelain from his family. Your Majesty, the cost of white porcelain is not that high. The taxes paid by the Uchiha family last year were not all the profits of white porcelain. The implication, Uchiha and Tachibana Jihei teamed up to deceive your Majesty. Daimyo, how could I not know? I had long expected that the Uchiha family would not be able to give all the profits as nicely as they said. He could tolerate keeping a little, and besides, Tachibana Jihei promised that the annual tax revenue would increase. It's better than putting all the money in the hands of the nobles who are arrogant and extravagant and used to crying poor. The daimyo looked at the white porcelain presented to him by the waiter with disdain. The appearance is rough and the wall of the cup is too thick. How dare such a thing be called white porcelain? The daimyo is now more and more dissatisfied with Fire Square. He is very wealthy, but he is not willing to give a penny to the ruler of a country. I heard that he is actively contacting his eldest son recently. This old man, Hinokata. It is time for him to retire. However, he has many students and followers in the court. If he forces him to retire, it may cause turmoil in the court. It is better to let Tachibana and Hinokata fight each other. Take the opportunity to eliminate the followers of Hinokata one by one, and then select some clean and useful newcomers. Thinking of this, the daimyo of the Land of Fire pretended to be angry and slapped the table and stood up. Good Uchiha, how dare you deceive the king? Come here, go and investigate whether the matter is really as Hinokata said. After that, he praised with a smile in his eyes. In the court, I still need people like you to help me find out the gaps and fill the gaps. Hinokata left with satisfaction. Isn't Tachibana Shurhei's reliance just an Uchiha? I want to see if the Uchiha will still care about you, the Minister of Civil Affairs, after the chaos. Thinking of the result of the previous commission of Senju, the face of Hinokata was a little ugly. I really didn't expect that Senju and Uchiha actually reached a tacit understanding in private. Senju, it can't be used spring goes and autumn comes. Uchiha Yudu went to the Wind Country and came back, and Kyojuro was still stuck in developing continuous thrust-type sword moves. Under the guidance of Thunderblade Gib, Kyojuro gradually understood the key to the thrust-type, precise attack points, and instantaneous explosive power. The power of his 6 forms became greater, and then there was no more. But he did not gain nothing. After all, Kyojuro was trained by Uchiha Madara, one of the best ninjas in the whole continent, every day. Not only did he have a better run-in with Explosion Blade, but his height also grew by 10 centimeters. I don't know where Uchiha Madara copied the physical training from. It really exercises the body. When all the strength in his body was exhausted, Kyojuro took a deep breath of the air and felt the soil. Sometimes, he felt that the land was talking to him. This feeling of being particularly close to nature made him feel relaxed, and his strength became stronger unconsciously. Kyojuro even felt that he could break a big tree with his bare hands. His body in this life is really a treasure trove. You, who was 128 centimeters before leaving the clan and 128 centimeters after returning, looked at Kyojuro, who was 130 centimeters before leaving and 140 centimeters after returning, and raised the knife in his hand silently. Jin, who was 130 centimeters tall, pressed the knife down. After a quarrel with his friends, they talked about the problem that they had been unable to get around this year. Continuous thrust. As local orthodox ninjas, several friends could not understand Kyojuro's troubles with the continuous thrust type at all. In their opinion, the so-called continuous thrust can either use thunder escape to speed up the body and stab multiple knives quickly in a short period of time, or simply launch multiple kunai at the same time, which can also achieve the effect of multiple attacks. Jin took a hard bite of the snack in his hand. This snack was still a stone cake that you had brought back from the Kingdom of Wind. It was dry and crispy. Although it was hard, it was chewy. He said, vaguely, Zingjuro, tell me, do you want to try dueling with ninjas outside the clan? Each ninja clan has its own way of fighting. Maybe it can give you some inspiration. After Shui took a small bite to try, she decisively returned the stone cake to you. Yes, your fire tree and silver flower last time was inspired by you. Do you want to try Earth Escape or Wind Escape this time? You said, I don't think Earth escape is possible. Wind escape should be possible. Wind helps fire. Maybe it can really give you inspiration. Earth release mainly changes the hardness, composition, mass, gravity of objects, or changes the terrain. It is very suitable for making rock walls to resist other ninjutsu attacks. How about vacuum jade? Uchiha Yu hasn't opened his eyes yet. Ordinary illusions are useless to Anjuro. He can only rely on simple drawings and narration to roughly explain the effects of ninjutsu. Similar to Phoenix Fire, this ninjutsu can continuously exhale short breaths and chakra, presenting a spherical attack with wind attributes. The vacuum wave is also a variation of the vacuum jade. The attack it spits changes from a spherical shape to a blade shape. Is the wind escaping? Zenjuro was inspired by the words of his friends and remembered the Fengzhou immortal river in the team in the previous life. Then naturally, I thought of the other immortal river in the team. Yes, brother immortal Sichuan uses firearms. If he can fire out flames and explosions in short bursts using chakra, wouldn't it be a continuous thrust? Just do it. Zenjuro took out explosive sword floating from a scroll he carried with him and tried it according to the idea just now. Boom! The friends built a tent with their hands and looked at the tragically dead target from a distance. Wow, ninja swordsman version of Go Fireball. Well, developing new moves is still not that simple. The attack that Anjuro just used was a single shot. Although the flames could be emitted without the sword, it was still only a single shot. So, when can we participate in actual combat? Even the youngest Yu is 7 years old. He hasn't even had a single actual battle. Well, wouldn't it be nice if there was no actual combat? The clan members wouldn't be hurt. The words are true, but without actual combat, when will we become stronger? More exercise? Zenjuro, shut up, you lucky guy who has Madara-sama as your sparring partner every day. I also want to be coached by Madara-sama. Chapter 43 Kagaya. As the new year approaches, good news comes from the capital. Tachibana Masakazu's wife Reika is pregnant. The two have been married for a year and a half. Although the relationship between the couple is very good, for some reason, Lihua has never been pregnant. Tachibana Masakazu is not too anxious. After all, fate is destined, but Tachibana Jippei and Tachibana Reika are a little impatient. Tachibana Reika is 3 years older than Masakazu. In this era where early marriage and early childbearing are common, she seems a bit out of place as she marries later and has children later. Moreover, she hopes that the family will have a family member who is closely related to her husband. Tachibana Jippei hopes to have a child who combines the blood of the two races. It is best that this child has the blood lineage of the Uchiha. This will ensure that the Uchiha will definitely help the Tachibana family, at least for this 100 years. After hearing this good news, the Uchiha clan naturally attached great importance to this child who was the link between the two clans. Taijima directly opened the clan treasury, cut a piece of pure special cloth, and had the great elder Akihito himself paint a protective circle with a high level of defense, almost on the same level as Anjuro. Since the beginning of winter, Uchiha Akihito has suffered from the cold and has been unable to regain his strength. After hearing the news, he regained some energy. Fireproof, waterproof, cut-proof, heatstroke-proof, cold-proof. How he looked at the protective formation diagram he copied from the baby clothes. When did our clan have so many formations? And it's all driven by the Sharingan. Has the Great Elder had a sudden burst of inspiration recently? The formations drawn on Anjuro's clothes last time were all driven by chakra. Unexpectedly, in just half a year, people in the sealing department of the clan have come up with so many new things. Taijima took out the things in the duo bow and identified them one by one, and put the things he was sure to keep at home back to their original places. The others were removed and prepared to be placed in the warehouse. The Great Elder has been staying at home for the past 6 months, studying the sealing formation when he has nothing to do. I don't know if it is because he is getting older, but he doesn't like to go out for walks less and less. How he did the math and said the Great Elder is 84 this year. Yeah, 84. I really didn't expect that I could still appear among the living Uchiha people at this age. Taijima made a hellish joke. I'm 42. Time flies so fast. Generally, with good news comes bad news. This may be the law of conservation of luck. As soon as the Uchiha family delivered the finished baby protective clothing to Masakazu, they heard that the youngest son of the Fire Country daimyo, Uchiha Kyojuro, was sick. It is said that the windows were not closed at night, and he contracted wind chill. His Highness Wang had a fever for several hours. After the fever subsided under the treatment of doctors, he is still recuperating. The imperial court accused Akira's biological mother Yunji of deliberately infecting the young prince with cold in order to compete for the daimyo's attention. Therefore, the daimyo put Yunji into confinement and asked her to guard the young highness until the young highness recovered. Facing this news, Izuno was speechless. He looked at Uchiha Su and asked, "Sister Su?" He officially joined the intelligence department, so the title he gave to the second elder became a common title for people within the intelligence department. Why do I feel that this punishment from the Fire Nation daimyo is called punishment, but it is actually protection? Su elegantly yawned. What you think is right. The fact was just as they expected. The moment the Fire Country daimyo knew about this, he guessed the little plan of Godeisho and the Fire Country. Daimyo, TSK, the Fire Party actually used all its methods in its own palace. After he pretended to put Yunji in solitary confinement, he wrote a souvenir to comfort Yunji. I know you are innocent, but recently you have been aggrieved. Yunji, who was born in the Kingdom of Thunder, looked at the souvenir and rolled her eyes 4 times. Oh, dogman. Then she held the brush that was so thin that she couldn't hold it at all and reluctantly imitated the delicate and beautiful handwriting of noble ladies and wrote a reply. As long as I can help your majesty, I will not be wronged. Your majesty is wronged. How could I not know his majesty's painstaking efforts to stabilize the government? Yunji. Sometimes, victory means waiting for your opponent to be stupid. Yeah, the small Uchiha team of 4 trains as usual. In addition to the most basic sword and ninjutsu, there is also illusion training. The Uchiha clan is naturally very spiritual and has a certain resistance to illusions. After years of training, coupled with the blessing of the Sharingan, the illusions performed by other ninjas on the mainland cannot make the Uchiha fall at all. The training of illusion ability includes 3 parts: theoretical learning, construction, and cracking. Their 8 or 9-year-old little Uchihas had just finished their theoretical studies and were able to start constructing some simple illusions. So illusion training was also included in their daily training. To put it simply, they perform basic illusions on each other. The caster must find a way to deceive the person who is being cast, and the person who is being cast must find the loopholes of the illusion as much as possible and rely on their own strength to break through the illusion. However, for this kind of training, they usually don't take Xingjiang to play. At first, Jean and the others knew nothing about it, so they enthusiastically performed illusions on Anjuro, and even imagined that they could surpass Anjuro in illusions. As a result, he was severely beaten. It was obviously just the most common and least easily detectable simulation illusion that completely simulated the surrounding environment. They didn't even add any other elements. However, no matter whether they explained it in advance or activated it suddenly, Xingjiang could always discover it at the first time. It's an illusion and break free. Shui, Jin Yu, this is unreasonable. Anjuro. He tilted his head and smiled. Shui Jin Yu, oh who? After all, Anjuro is a genius. Shui is right. It makes sense that a genius can see through illusions in a second. Naturally, Anjuro is regarded by his friends as the first test of his illusion practice. As long as their illusions can fool Anjuro, it means that their illusions have become somewhat successful. After several separate fights with no results, this time they prepared to join forces to perform illusions. Xingjiang blinked his eyes, and the strange feeling for a moment made him carefully observe his surroundings. It was still the clan's training ground, and the friend in front of him was still complaining about his illusion resistance. But Anjuro just felt something was wrong. Will winter be so cold in the land of fire? Jean stood up and reached out to continue sparring with him. Anjuro held the handle of the knife in his hand and suddenly felt something was wrong. Looking down, the sword in his hand was clearly the flame sword from the previous life. Is he an illusion? Zenjuro thought for a moment, because he couldn't sense the specific positions of his three friends. To be safe, he stood with a knife and calmed down. Breath of fire. He slashed at the ground. The flames flashed past. Xingjiang breathed a sigh of relief, and the chill that had surrounded him just now disappeared. Ah, failed again. Sitting on the tree stump with rotten snow. Although I'm prepared, I'm still so frustrated. Zenjuro tilted his head and showed a bright smile. Feel sorry. Jean rubbed his face. It's because our skills are not up to par. Xingshura, can you tell me how you noticed it? Enjuro thought for a moment. Because it's cold. Cold. You and Shui looked at each other. We didn't set any temperature-related changes in the illusion, right? No. So it was Andrew's instinct to use the cold feeling to remind him that he was in danger. This instinct is too cheating. Wait a minute. If the instinct is to use the cold to remind you, wouldn't it mean that if you cast an illusion in the winter of the Land of Thunder, Andrew would be fooled? An illusion that has to choose the time and place is too rubbish. I really want to open my eyes. I will definitely be able to deceive Xingjuru after opening my eyes. Don't point at everything to open your eyes. Madara-sama is already the strongest of his generation in the clan before he even opens his eyes. Ken, I beg you, stop talking, you Madara-bookie. I'm telling the truth. What Uncle Hua told me must be true. That's because your Fire Core uncle is Madara-bookie. Xingqiang understood clearly. He is the pillar of flame, and the power that drives him is the burning fire in his heart. So the chill that came from deep inside his body was because his body was one step ahead of his mind, reminding him that this was a false illusion. Clan leader, we have a big order. The little brother of the Kagaya clan ran back to the clan happily with his beanie eyebrows on his face. I can fight Uchiha Madara, and I can get money. What? Kagaya, the leader of the Kagaya clan who was originally slumped in the sun and basking on his back, stood up from the ground. I can fight Uchiha Madara. Come on, go now. The last experience of being violently beaten by an Uchiha who fell from the sky made the Kagaya clan leader completely ignited after being depressed for 3 days. By the time he inquired about Uchiha Madara's whereabouts, he had already left the Land of Fire. From then on, Kagaya Yoshiyuki didn't think about food or tea. He only thought about fighting Uchiha Madara. Either he would be convinced that he lost, or beat Uchiha Madara to his knees and beg for mercy. He dared to care about the battle so much, and he also saw that Uchiha Madara only wanted to win or lose and did not want to take people's lives. In that battle, all the bones in his body were broken by Uchiha Madara, and his life was already in his hands, but he still survived. When he thought that the opportunity he had been waiting for more than a year had finally come, Kagaya Yoshiyuki grabbed the task list in the hands of his tribe and said, this isn't about beating Uchiha Madara, it's boring. Clan leader, Uchiha Taijima is Uchiha Madara's father. If you beat your father, his son will definitely come to you. Go. Don't cheat me. You're here to seek revenge. I just want to fight, but I don't want to die. Clan leader, please be gentle. Uchiha Madara will at most injure you seriously. Well, that makes sense, Why do you acquiesce that I will lose? The tribesman smiled beggingly, and the black lines on his face flashed away. The clan leader is the strongest. Kagaya Yoshiyuki scratched his head. What does Uchiha Taijima look like? In fact, Kagaya Yoshiyuki is a bit face-blind. In his opinion, the Uchiha clan members all look like they are carved out of the same mold, and they all have fried black hair, making it impossible to tell them apart. Unlike the Kagaya clan, everyone has a different hairstyle, making them easy to recognize. Clan leader, you just need to know Uchiha Madara. During the Chinese New Year, Uchiha Madara will definitely follow his father. Then, Uchiha Koichi, who was asked to deliver New Year's gifts to Tachibana's family, was beaten up by Kagaya Yoshiyuki. Uchiha Koichi, hold it. Don't cry. Madara Uchiha was asked to go with him to give gifts, but got bored halfway through and went for a ride on the 9 llamas. When he came back, he found that his cousin had been beaten and the assailant dared to stay where he was and provoke him. Uchiha Madara, I. Bang. Boom. Speak. Kagaya Kayuki was knocked down by Uchiha Madara before she could even stretch out her bones. They paid us to kill Uchiha Taijima. I beat you last time, so I thought that I could come to beat your father this time and provoke Uchiha Madara to fight me again. Kagaya Kayuki was quite sensible and quickly explained the motives of her coming this time. Uchiha Koichi covered his kicked stomach, but I'm not our clan leader. The bound Kagaya Kayuki screamed in disbelief. Aren't you Uchiha Taijima? I'm not. Awkward. Uchiha Madara was speechless by this nonsensical development and could only let Kurama send a message to the clan, first taking Kagaya Kayuki back to the clan for custody, and then rushing the injured Koichi to the nearest clinic for emergency treatment. Black Zetsu, who was hiding in the underground of the Uchiha clan, waited from dawn to dusk, but did not wait for Kagaya's action. After waiting for a few more days, what he waited for was Kagaya Yoshiyuki, who was sent here tied up. Black Zetsu. Wasn't Uchiha Taijima in the clan land? Why was Kagaya sent here from outside? Before he could get closer to listen to the details, he saw the disgusting child running in and looked in his direction very keenly. Black Zetsu was startled and buried himself in the ground again. As soon as Kyojuro entered the yard, he felt a deep, sticky, and cold air. He looked in the direction where the air came from. It seemed that there was nothing wrong. Kyojuro, why are you here? Kyojuro wrote down the doubts and turned to ask, Uncle, was my dad beaten? Is he okay? What happened? No, he's fine, just a little skin injury. But he wanted to challenge your Uncle Madara, but he recognized the wrong person. Kuchi will be back in 2 days, and he will definitely not delay the new year. Did he recognize the wrong person? Kyojuro was in a daze. Uncle Madara's temperament, someone who could recognize the wrong person. Maybe not very smart. Kagaya Yoshiyuki, who was sent to the Uchiha clan, finally saw the real Uchiha Taijima. He stared at Uchiha Taijima's face for a long time, turned around, and asked the Uchiha brother who was guarding him, Isn't this exactly the same as the one I beat? All the Uchiha in the room were silent. Uchiha Taijima broke the awkward atmosphere. I have basically understood the situation. As long as you can tell us all the information and make up for our Uchiha's losses, we can release you and your people back to Kagaya. Kagaya Kayuki was smart. What losses? There are no losses, don't talk nonsense. They have no money in Kagaya. Uchiha Taijima chuckled twice. Come on, invite the 5 elders. Since you have no money, pay with your bodies. Chapter 44 Corpse Veins. Because of the cold air he sensed before the new year, Kyojuro specifically asked Taijima to allow him to follow the clan patrol team and sweep every corner of the clan land. Until the new year, he still didn't find anything. This year, the Uchiha clan land is very lively. In addition to the several families that usually come and go, the clan also welcomed ninjas from the Kagaya family to visit. But they only stayed for a short while and left. Time goes back to when the Uchiha detained the Kagaya clan leader as an experimental subject. It was not until the new year that the Kagaya family discovered that the clan leader, who had excitedly rushed out the door after receiving the task, seemed to have disappeared. The clan leader's wife and the elders sat together and recalled for a long time before they barely remembered that the day the clan leader went out. He seemed to be muttering something excitedly. Uchiha Madara? So they decided to bring gifts to ask the Uchiha. Otherwise, bring the whole clan to a righteous gang fight? It's not that Kagaya and the others don't want to fight. It's that they really can't win. They can't use up all the manpower of the entire clan just to save a clan leader, right? This gift-giving trial plan was proposed by the clan leader's wife herself. On this side, after receiving Kagaya's visiting card, Uchiha Taijima was stunned for a moment, turned around, and asked the Uchiha beside him, Did we ask the Kagaya brother who came to see him before to send Kagaya Kayuki's handwritten letter back? The Uchiha who was the chief's guard today nodded. Send it back. I followed that Kagaya to the vicinity of their clan. Uchiha Taijima looked at the visiting card again and muttered to himself, What does the Kagaya family mean by this? Are they here to ask for someone? Clan leader. I think the Kagaya family may come to see how Kagaya Kayuki is doing here. After all, it's the new year, and it's possible to send some New Year's goods. Uchiha Taijima's mouth twitched. The battle maniacs of the Kagaya family can come up with such a roundabout way to inquire about intelligence. Having said that, this matter is indeed not the usual style of the Kagaya family. But Uchiha Taijima really can't think of any other reason for Kagaya to come to the door during the new year. The handwritten letter written by Kagaya Yoshiyuki was indeed written by him willingly, actively, and positively. The Uchiha clan assured that they did not use any coercion or intimidation in the process. At the beginning, the fifth elder Uchiha took over Kagaya Yoshiyuki. After an examination, he found that Kagaya Yoshiyuki had been using the blood limit, the corpse bone vein, for long-term attacks and activities, which caused the osteoblasts and osteoclasts in his body to be disordered. And the long bones in his body were repeatedly broken and regenerated, resulting in severe osteoporosis in the body. Because each time the corpse bone vein is used, the hard bones need to break out of the body and penetrate the muscles again and again. Although the corpse bone vein gives the Kagaya clan the ability to heal quickly, it allows them to heal broken muscles on their own. But just like a broken mirror cannot be restored, even if the torn muscles are repaired, there will still be some effects. Over the years, Kagaya Yoshiyuki has accumulated a lot of irreversible hidden injuries in his body. According to Kagaya Kyuki's own description, he now has to replace his ribs once a day. Otherwise, the corpse bone vein will erupt uncontrollably, causing the bones of the whole body to proliferate rapidly and emerge from the body surface, making the whole person look like a porcupine. Uchiha Shin has been studying the sun patch produced by sunflower. In addition to the Uchiha family Sharingan, can the sun patch have the same therapeutic effect on other blood limits? As he wished with Kagaya Kyuki, a serious patient with corpse bone vein, he can finally test the drug on a critically ill patient. Of course, this is not the first time he has tested the vision patch on a living person, but before, he only tested the drug on some insignificant ninjas captured by the interrogation department. The captured ninjas were either young or weak, and they were not at the level of the full outbreak of the sequelae of the blood limit. Even if the sun patch has an effect, it is not obvious. After all, the symptoms of the experimental subject itself are not serious. Kagaya Kyuki, who has a corpse bone vein that will erupt soon, but is still holding on to his body, is a rare experimental subject. So Kagaya Yoshiyuki started to eat soy products for 3 meals a day, occasionally drink some milk, and be blindfolded every day with sun patches all over his body. These measures are all attempts to make bones harder, repair faster, and make up for the body's deficiencies. Within 3 days, Kagaya Yoshiyuki clearly felt that the dull pain in his bone joints disappeared. He wore an eye mask and lay naked on the operating table, trying to get some information from Uchiha Shin. You have a good thing. Give us some. There are many people like me in our clan, or I can call them too. No. Uchiha Shin didn't even raise his head and continued to paste sun patches on the people in front of him. I don't know if it's because Kyojuro's ability has become stronger in recent years, and the duration of the sun patches produced by sunflower has also doubled. Kagaya Yoshiyuki bargained. Then we will work for you, and you can pay us Kagaya with this. He smacked his lips. I heard that your Uchiha business is very big now, and you have bought things from Senju. The relationship between our two families is better than your relationship with Senju. Uchiha Arita couldn't help but smile. Is this another ninja who is eager to be hired? Fortunately, Kagaya Yoshiyuki is wearing an eye patch now. Otherwise, he might jump up and run away immediately after seeing this twisted smile. This is not something I can decide. I have to talk to the clan leader first. All right. Kagaya Yoshiyuki reviewed her own life recently. Although the treatment method was a bit strange, she could eat and drink well. Not to mention, the food cooked by the Uchiha family was delicious, and her condition had really improved. Get better. Only under Uchiha's new reminder, Kagaya Yoshiyuki happily wrote a handwritten letter telling his wife and clan members about his current situation. Kagaya Jiashing. I am so happy here that I don't miss Shu. It is precisely because of this that Uchiha was so surprised after receiving Kagaya's invitation. Because she didn't want to make the atmosphere between the two clans so tense. This time, it was Kagaya clan leader's wife who came to visit with her eldest daughter. It was a personal reason to come and see how her husband/father was doing in Uchiha. The patriarch's wife. My husband is not dead, so that's okay. I wish you a happy new year. Uchiha Taijima. Don't you think of collecting some money to redeem your clan leader? Patriarch's wife, what? What did you say? I can't hear you clearly. I'm going to see the child's father first. After greeting Uchiha Taijima, Mrs. Kagaya successfully met her husband who had gained 5 pounds. The eldest daughter, Kagaya Yu, stayed in the tea room, sitting opposite Uchiha Taijima, holding a teacup and curiously looking at the scenery in the yard outside. Uchiha Taijima looked at the beautiful woman with silver hair and asked with a smile, "Little girl, are you married? How old are you this year?" Hui Yue was a little nervous, put down her teacup, and answered obediently, "Uchiha-sama, my daughter has just turned 18 this year, and her parents have already decided on a husband for me." "Oh, sure. If it's okay, I'll ask you." "Don't be nervous," Uchiha Taijima sighed. "Alas, let Madara not be in a hurry. Now it's better. The outstanding girls are all settled. When will Madara's marriage be finalized?" On the other side, the wife of the Kagaya clan leader knocked her husband with some complaints. "You're staying here so well. Why don't you send a message home? The children and I are worried to death. Look at you, you're fat. TSK, this guy's food has been so good lately." The knocking made her hand hurt. Kagaya Yoshiyuki honestly stretched out his arm for his wife to pinch. I sent you a letter. Didn't you receive it?" The patriarch's wife, who was exerting herself, was stunned and looked at her husband blankly. "No, I didn't receive it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so bold as to visit Uchiha's store." Kagaya Yoshiyuki was also stunned. "No, I asked that boy Ian to report back to the clan. Aren't you the one you sent to find me?" "Ian? Even the Uchiha guys here can testify." "Ian? Dana, what are you talking about? Ian has been buried for a month." "What?" For a moment, everyone who heard this was shocked. If Kagaya Yin had been buried long ago, then the day after they caught Kagaya Yoshiyuki, the Kagaya brother who came to Uchiha to inquire about the whereabouts of their clan leader. Who is it? Kagaya Yoshiyuki was afraid that he was face-blind and mistook someone else for Ian. He asked again and again, "Are there any missing Kagayas in our clan? Are they all at home?" The clan leader's wife also realized that something was wrong. She carefully recalled the situation of the clan members and said with certainty, "No more. I'm sure that everyone will be back during the Chinese New Year. There will be no missing persons in the clan during this year. You can see people alive. You can see corpses dead, and you can find them all." That. Kagaya Yoshiyuki suddenly felt a little chilly. Ian told him this task, and it was also Ian who persuaded him to accept this task. That Ian. Who is it? Kagaya's exchange here was immediately reported to Taijima by Uchiha, who was watching from the side. Uchiha Taijima instantly remembered the ghost Anjuro mentioned during the New Year last year. Could it be that the ghost found that the Uchiha family couldn't take action? So he turned to the Kagaya family and wanted to use the Kagaya family to attack Uchiha and completely mess up Uchiha's current good situation. And according to Kagaya Yoshiyuki, the target of that ghost is himself. Anjuro, who had been practicing sword skills in the backyard, also heard the conversation between them with his extraordinary hearing. He looked at the knife in his hand. Ghost? The sword in his hand is not the Nichiren sword. Can it still kill ghosts? Are there Gorilla Crimson, Sand Iron, and Gorilla Crimson, or in this world? After Kagaya clan leader's wife and Kagaya Moon left, he walked into the house and solemnly presented his idea to Uchiha Taijima. "Uncle, I want to go to Kagaya's house and see the body of the man controlled by the ghost." He had to confirm whether the knife in his hand could actually hurt the fierce ghost. After all, the ghosts in this world are different from the ghosts in his previous life that had entities and wanted to eat people. He must confirm that he has the power to protect his family. No, absolutely not. As soon as he heard that Anjuro was going to such a dangerous place, Uchiha Taijima was not happy at all. How could my little darling go to a place where the details were unclear and 80% of the time there would be danger? A gentleman does not stand behind a dangerous wall. Anjuro didn't stop and continued. "Uncle, please listen to me. I was the one who discovered the traces of that ghost before. Maybe I was born to be very sensitive to that ghost. So only I can detect whether the affairs of the Kagaya family have been planned by Uchiha. The devil is behind it. Only after confirmation can we make corresponding arrangements. Born? Uchiha Taijima's eyebrows twitched. Is it the special talent Anjuro has brought about by the fusion of Senju and Uchiha blood? Fairy body and fairy eyes. Could it be that if you integrate them, you can become an immortal and deal with evil ghosts? That whirlpool is also a fairy body. No, no, no. Now is not the time to think about this. That won't work either. I bought a witch's crystal ball from the Kingdom of Ghosts. The crystal ball can also detect the whereabouts of that ghost. Zenjuro pursed his lips. Uncle, on the day Kagaya Yoshiyuki was sent to the clan, I also noticed the aura of that fierce ghost in the yard where he was imprisoned. Although the aura passed by in a flash, Anjuro believed in his intuition and instinct. That fierce ghost was definitely an Uchiha at that time. Uchiha Taijima was a little stunned, because he was also in the yard that day, and he wore the crystal ball with him, but the crystal ball did not change at all to warn him. This proves that the crystal ball cannot detect the evil ghost that has been hiding in the Uchiha clan. Xingjiang hurriedly took advantage of the victory and pursued it. Uncle, please. I am the most suitable candidate. I can't watch my family being targeted and do nothing. Taijima pressed his eyebrows tightly, his thoughts racing rapidly. Finally, he relented and made the biggest concession. After the new year, you go with Kagaya Yoshiyuki after the new year. I will assign a team of 20 people to follow you. They will all obey your command and protect you at the same time. Zenjuro understood that this was the importance Uchiha Taijima attached to him, and he agreed immediately. Okay, I will definitely catch that evil ghost. The point is not about evil spirits. You must ensure your own safety. Yes, if you really find traces of ghosts, don't act rashly. We ninjas currently know nothing about ghosts. We still need to go to the country of ghosts to find a professional Miko for questioning. Okay, is there a group in the Kingdom of Ghosts that specializes in killing ghosts? Taijima's face looked disgusting. I don't know, it should be possible, but unless it can really get rid of ghosts, it's not necessarily true. Maybe in the future, Anjuro will be a professional ghost hunter who can really get rid of ghosts. After sending Anjuro away, Uchiha Taijima took out the crystal ball he bought. Master Miko, when Xingjiang grows up, he will definitely mess up all their businesses. Chapter 45 Lifespan Gong. Why are you here? The somewhat haggard Uchiha Q looked back. Ah, Happy New Year. I think something is wrong with you. What's wrong? Great Elder. Well, Grandpa. Maybe he felt something and asked me to buy these. He didn't say anything, just patted Gong on the shoulder. Talk if you have something to say. Well, thanks. The great elder Uchiha Akihito fell ill after the winter, and Xian went to see him. It was just because he was too old and was aging naturally. It's not a weakness that drugs can treat. In a daze, Zhongren seemed to have an idea. While he was awake, he asked Gong to prepare the longevity materials and shrouds first. The closer I got to that step, the previous fear of death disappeared without a trace. Years ago, when he gradually became unable to do what he wanted, he had let Gong slowly take over his responsibilities from him, and he was still responsible for the clan's defensive formations and bank care. Fortunately, Gong has some talent in the ceiling formation, and he has been working behind Zhongren since he was a child. Although he was busy for a few days after taking over, the handover was smooth. Knowing that Zhongren was dying, the Taijima family also came to visit. The two families had frequent contacts, and the great-grandson of the eldest elder was still a good friend of Anjuro. The great elder's residence was filled with a deep medicinal smell. Although he knew that life and death were determined by fate, and people knew that time was valuable because they knew life and death, Xingjiang still felt a little heavy. He was worried about you. I also feel uncontrollable sadness over the passing of my loved ones. You knelt and sat next to Zhongren, and Xing Zhulong was also there. Zhongren was rarely sober today. He smiled and said, "It's Anjuro." Seeing his great-grandson's face strained as he tried to stop crying, Zhongren comforted him. I died at the end of my life, which is very rare for a ninja. He touched his hair, smiled, and said, "Learn to accept death." It is precisely because of death that human beings know how to cherish it and make this short life as brilliant as possible. After birth, old age, illness, and death, Grandpa is about to take the next step. Grandpa's life is finally complete. You, Ingong. Zhongren saw Gong's shadow behind the shoji gate and raised his voice slightly. I feel blessed to have such wonderful children as you. Zhang Ren's eyes gradually became distant. The country of thunder, his hometown, the country of fire, the place where he lives and works hard. The white-haired couple gave birth to the black-haired couple. After their son left, his wife also left. He raised his grandson himself and watched his great-grandson grow up. He watched Uchiha go from panic to strength, from war to stability. He has no regrets in this life. Zenjiro looked at the elder who could not hide his weakness but had firm and gentle eyes, as if he had seen his mother in the hospital bed again. Even though their genders are different and their worlds are different, they all have a strong heart. The next day, Zhang Run died. Yu opened his eyes in the morning hall, but he was not happy at all. If the price for the Sharingan he cherishes so much is the departure of his great-grandfather, he would rather not open it for the rest of his life. In the evening, Xingjiang came to see him. He didn't say anything, just hugged her. Yu buried his head on Anjuro's shoulder. Xing Shoulang, I know that my great-grandfather died of natural causes. He was smiling when he left, as if he was asleep, and there was no pain at all. But I don't have a great-grandfather anymore. He didn't want to cry at first, but for some reason he saw the recliner that his great-grandfather liked when he returned home. Suddenly, I couldn't control my tears. Grandpa Mingming would always be on the recliner, slowly calculating the ceiling formation. And when he came over, he would take out candy bars from his pocket and give them to himself. But now, the recliner is still there, the candy bars in the cupboard are still there, but great-grandpa is gone. Xingjiang didn't say anything. He just held Yu and helped him sort out the raging tears. I don't know how much time passed, but Yu wiped away his tears, straightened up, and calmed down. I will definitely grow up well, so that my great-grandfather doesn't have to worry, and I will become an excellent Uchiha. I will always be proud of my great-grandfather. Anjuro patted Yu on the shoulder. You can definitely do it. After spring begins, Kagaya Yoshiyuki is doing well too, gained 8 pounds. Uchiha Arita wanted to drive him out of the medicine hall with a scalpel. Uchiha Madara and Kagaya clan leader had another fight, leaving Anjuro to watch. Because of the idea of teaching, Uchiha Madara did not open the Sharingan this time, but used basic physical skills and sword skills to fight Kagaya Yoshiyuki. Of course, Kagaya Yoshiyuki didn't use the ultimate move of corpse bone veins, but instead used the sudden bones as hidden weapons, hoping to hit them. Xingjiang was on the side, and together with Jean, who came over to take classes for free, they were absorbing knowledge crazily. Madara held the knife in his right hand and jammed Kagaya's bone. Then he lifted it with his backhand. Kagaya Yoshiyuki pulled out the second rib on the right side, grabbed the gap, and aimed directly at the throat. Uchiha Madara flipped backwards and kicked Kagaya Yoshiyuki's bones. Kagaya Yoshiyuki leaned forward and leaned on the ground, reaching out to grab Uchiha Madara's ankle. Seeing that the distance was not enough, he quickly twisted his body and bone spurs appeared from his palm. Stabit scratched the hem of Uchiha Madara's clan uniform. Uchiha Madara stepped directly on the bone and used the force to take off. Kagaya Yoshiyuki immediately had bone spurs coming out from his back. Uchiha Madara stabbed several times in the air condescendingly. When a knife connected with the bone, there was a clanging sound of metal collision. Seeing Uchiha Madara and Kagaya Yoshiyuki fighting hand-to-hand, Anjuro suddenly understood how he should modify his attack methods. He's enlightened. He drew out the wooden sword from the side and matched the Uchiha clan's sprinting footwork. He jumped up with the help of the low wall and stabbed 8 times in a row from top to bottom. The fireball released by the sword technique was divided into 8. Following the direction of the knife tip, 8 charred pits appeared on the ground where they were targeted. Xingqiu Lang breathed a long sigh of relief. The breath of fire 7 types the year-end flame. It took a year to finally take shape. The sparring between Uchiha Madara and Kagaya Yoshiyuki stopped at some point. Uchiha Madara squatted down, touched the pit in the yard, and asked for gold. This move started with a single shot. Jin Chao answered loudly, yes. A single shot can directly destroy a large tree. Although the attack power of a single target is reduced, the number of attacks that can be increased is increased, which means that it can better protect itself in melee. Seeing Andrew's move, Uchiha Madara nodded with some satisfaction. My eldest nephew is good at everything, but I don't know why the ninja sword skills he uses are all aimed at the neck of a single target. Whoever follows the rules on the battlefield is one-on-one. Now that he has this ninja sword technique that can attack multiple people at the same time, it can be regarded as making up for his shortcomings in this area. Kagaya Yoshiyuki looked at Anjuro and was amazed. Either the Uchiha are strong, and there is no shortage of talented and powerful people in the clan. It would be great if they, Kagaya, could also let the talented little kid grow up to adulthood. Wait, because of the corpse bone veins of the Kagaya clan, the stronger the talent, the earlier the disease will occur. Now, there is a special Uchiha medicine. Kagaya Yoshiyuki slapped his thigh. His little son was saved. Action is worse than a heartbeat. Kagaya Yoshiyuki immediately invited, you see, the new year is over. When are you going to visit our tribe? Didn't you say you were going to explore something before? After Jin heard this, he wisely said goodbye to Xingqiu Lang and left first. Madara Uchiha saw his eldest nephew's expectant eyes and touched his chin. Then I'll go back and ask my father. After deciding on the candidates for the team, we can set off as soon as possible. Kagaya Clan Land. Clan leader, are you going back? Brother Kagaya, who was guarding the gate of the clan, had just waved excitedly to his clan leader, who was said to have been receiving treatment in Uchiha for several months. When he saw a bunch of Uchiha behind the clan leader. Clan leader? Are you going to take Uchiha to fight Kagaya? Brother Kagaya's offline speech allowed him to successfully receive a blow from Kagaya Yoshiyuki. I asked you to help me. Let's go on our way. Uchiha leader, please. Uchiha Taijima was also in the team, just to confirm whether the crystal ball he bought was useful. Kagaya Yoshiyuki asked his wife to move all the clan members near the cemetery in advance, and he led the Uchiha people directly into the cemetery. Monk Zhang Air, a member of the Kagaya clan who didn't know about the evil ghost possessing Kagaya Yin, was confused. What are the Uchiha people doing in their Kagaya cemetery? Do you want to dig some bones of the Kagaya clan from the cemetery and use them as weapons? The Uchiha family is so poor that they can't even afford a knife. Here, the Uchiha people surrounded Anjuro and watched him inspect Kagaya Yan's tomb that had been dug up. As soon as the coffin was opened, Xingqiu once again noticed the obscure, dark, and sticky atmosphere. There is no doubt that the evil ghost attached to Kagaya's body is the same evil ghost that tampered with the Uchiha stone slab. But now, this evil ghost has long left this body. Uchiha Taijima saw, Andrew nodded to him, and the guy holding the crystal ball shook his head at him. His heart was completely broken. He spent a lot of money to buy a piece of trash. He asked, how did you find his body? Kagaya Yoshiyuki and his wife faced each other and roughly sorted out the evil ghost line of action. Kagaya Yin died somewhere outside the clan because of his mission. Li Gui took possession of the body before the spots appeared on the body and sent Kagaya Yoshiyuki a mission. After Kagaya Yoshiyuki was captured by the Uchiha clan, he controlled Kagaya Yan's body and came to the Uchiha clan to inquire about the situation. In the end, Kagaya Yan's body was abandoned, and the body was found by the passing Kagaya tribe and brought back to the Kagaya tribe. This is just their speculation. In fact, Black Zetsu can directly possess a living person, but the black part will be displayed on the body of the controlled person. Kagaya Yin is possessed alive. After Black Zetsu is done, in order to prevent Kagaya Yin from exposing his existence when he returned, Heizetsu killed Kagaya Yin. After Kagaya Yoshiyuki finished his speculation, Anjuro came up with an idea. I want to go see the place where you found the body. It should be not far from here. It's not far. I'll take you there. Fortunately, Kagaya Yoshiyuki was only face-blind and not a road fool. They successfully walked to a forest about 30 miles away from Kagaya's tribe. This is it, Kagaya Yoshiyuki said, pointing to an empty space. Ian's body was here before. Xingqiu Lang felt a chill in his heart and immediately squatted down and touched the land with his hands. Last time in Uchiha, he also noticed the aura on the ground in an empty corner, and this time again. Could it be that this evil ghost is moving in the soil? He followed his perception and walked forward another 20 meters. The breath gradually became shallower until broken. Xingjiang carefully observed the surroundings, and there were no special marks. Even the fallen leaves on the ground had no trace of being stepped on. There were very few animal footprints and droppings around. After all, this place is not far from the ninja family, so the animals are probably hunted back and eaten. It seemed that the fierce ghost was really moving in the earth. After leaving Kagaya Yan's body, it gradually escaped into the earth and left. Because it was deep enough, he could no longer sense it. Anjuro stood up, patted the dust on his hands, and smiled at Kagaya Yoshiyuki. Don't worry, the ghost has left. President Kagaya breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay to leave. Then let's go back to have a meal? Take a rest. Uchiha Taijima shook his head. No, let's go back first. Kagaya Yoshiyuki also understood Taijima's caution, so he didn't stay any longer. He just stuffed a Kagaya baby into the Uchiha team when they were about to leave. Looking at this child of about 5 years old, Uchiha Taijima raised an eyebrow. This is... Kagaya Yoshiyuki smiled honestly. My youngest son, what between us? He winked and said, right, this is a guarantee. Uchiha Taijima was happy. It seemed that this guy wanted to finalize the cooperation in advance, and maybe his son could enjoy the special medicine first. Kagaya Yoshiyuki was afraid of Uchiha's rejection, so her expression immediately changed, and she began to act miserably. This child is so talented. Without your Uchiha special medicine, he might not live to be 6 years old. He will be 5 years old this year. He wiped his tears hard. Don't worry, you can treat it as you like. If it's not cured, the child will die. It won't affect the relationship between our two clans. If you have any missions in the future, you can come to us anytime. Shao Kagaya immediately cooperated with his father and hugged Uchiha Taijima's thigh. His eyes flashed with pleading eyes, but he kept staring at Anjuro, who seemed to be the most talkative in the team. Anjuro, who had always attacked others with his eyes, had the same trick used on himself for the first time. Okay, Uchiha Taijima picked up Kagaya Fazia, who was still trying to sell him. I have accepted your son. If you have something to do, write a letter. If you want to come and see him, write a greeting note in advance. Kagaya Yoshiyuki and her youngest son met their eyes, and the father and son connected with each other. Son, don't blame Dad. Dad is doing this to keep you alive. Xingqiu Lang is quite a nice person, so be sure to hug his thighs. Dad, I understand. Rest assured. Chapter 46 Potatoes when Uchiha Taijima and Kyojuro led the Uchiha to explore the Kagaya family's territory. Madara and Izuna stayed at home. When Black Zetsu saw this character configuration, he thought it was a godsend. If he doesn't do something now, when will he do it? Apart from anything else, Black Zetsu's ability to act is really strong. He has a very strong subjective initiative. Happy, he immediately led Izuna to the shrine and showed him the method of opening the Mangeki on the stone slab. To open the Mangeki, the death of an important person must be stimulated. Uchiha Izuna sneered in his heart. It seems that someone deliberately guided him tonight just to let him see this wrong method. It seems that the previous attack on his father was also to stimulate him to open the Mangeki. I am quite important to the mastermind behind the scenes. Since Kyojuro discovered that the clan's stone tablet had been tampered with last year, Uchiha Taijima specially convened all the Uchiha with 3 Magatama in the clan to hold a meeting. At the meeting, they were clearly told that the method of opening the Mangeki on the stone tablet was maliciously modified by someone, and they were asked to be alert and vigilant at all times to prevent someone from inducing them to attack important people. Black Zetsu hid in the dark, rubbing his hands, and looked at Izuna, standing silently in front of the stone tablet for a long time with satisfaction. Then he sighed and walked away in a daze. Looking at Izuna's appearance, he should have seen it. If he saw it, he would not be afraid that he would not be tempted. Now he can't get around the hurdle in his heart. It's okay. If he encounters a few more critical moments and feels more unwillingness brought by weakness, he will have no choice but to open the Mangeki. He in the darkness. Black Zetsu laughed silently. Kagaya Fuya, who was forced to come by Kagaya Kayuki, was decisively and forcibly stuffed to the fifth elder by Taijima as soon as he entered Uchiha. Taijima, you still want to get close to Kyojuro. Go away. Kyojuro, uncle, where's Xiaofeng? Taijima, Xiaofeng is here to treat illnesses. Don't disturb him if you have nothing to do. It will affect the treatment process. After the beginning of spring, it's time for Uchiha to open the most exciting blind box, Bushi, and summon Kyojuro. This year, the clan leader's family is particularly complete. Uchiha Taijima is, of course. Madara gave himself a day off. Izuna asked Su for a day off, and Koichi said hello to his master but didn't go to work. Kyojuro is 9 years old, and his plant summoning system has ushered in a major upgrade. In addition to removing the limit on the number of summoned plants, there is also a surprise part. But this surprise part is still gray, with no information. Kyojuro moved his hands, and the seal was sealed. The yard was quiet, with no smoke or sound. Did it fail? It's okay, try again. It's common for ninjutsu to fail. Howie immediately comforted.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.